This conference will now be recorded.
We ready? Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to take just a minute to thank all of you for coming. This is an important event that happens once or twice a month, and we appreciate you taking the time to come and be a part of it. The next regular meeting of the Board of Supervisors will take place Tuesday, June the 25th, 2024 at 9 a.m. at the Community Center, 3500 Edgewater Drive, Sebring, Florida. Please silence or turn off your cell phones. Key upcoming events. June the 1st, we had the Sebring Rotary Tournament. Music in the Park is June the 13th. Good Stuff Band from 5 to 7, and I believe there's a food truck there. Is that correct? We have a special budget meeting with citizens input, so mark your calendars for June the 13th from 5 to 7 p.m. here at the Community Center. And another special budget meeting, board approved assessments on June the 18th from 9 to 11 here. The public comment session on the New Water Waste Plant update is June the 19th. 9 o'clock, again, it'll be here. Public comment in general. Do we have any public comment? That will be limited to 3 minutes and will be addressed by our general manager. Any public comment of anything on the agenda? Then I need a motion to approve the consent agenda. Just call for the vote.
Supervisor Brooks. Supervisor Brooks. Supervisor Herrick. Supervisor McLaughlin. Supervisor Norton. President Phillips.
Yes. Motion is approved. Scott, you're up.
Good morning, staff, residents. Scott Kerouac, Collins County Commissioner, District 3. Just a couple quick updates. We had our commission meeting last Tuesday, today, and some of you probably have seen we've enacted a countywide burn ban that's in effect now, and it's for a period of 30 days unless renewed by the commission. Something different we did this year, if we start getting some rains, it gives the ability to our fire chief working with the Forestry Service on the drought scale index to lift the burn ban without having to wait for a commission meeting. So we'll see how the weather in the rainy season, when it comes into effect. And hopefully, as you can see, we've had a lot of wildfires around the county. And certainly you folks spoke last time about the one that you had out here. I think they're real close to some homes in Grenada. That we were glad that we had the resources and everything to keep any homes from being damaged. The recent fire, since I spoke last time, down on the north end of Lake Placid and the Blueberry Avenue and Hen Scratch Road fire over 312 acres was burned. That fire is still an active fire. There's some real difficult spots to get into and some marsh areas there that's still burning. With the efforts of forestry and our local fire rescue working together, they were able to save $9 million worth of homes in that fire. Homes that literally close to what you folks experienced out here, where it melted the soffit off of some homes, but no houses were lost. Lost some outbuildings and a few vehicles that were parked in some heavily wooded areas. Last commission meeting last week, the board unanimously approved the request from your board on the transfer of Sun Lake Boulevard in exchange for the construction and paving of Schumacher Road. And so staff is going to start working on putting all that together. As mentioned before, some months ago, Schumacher Road, we have to get to work on the engineering and design phase of that road. That road has to be shifted close to 30 feet to the north. We'll have to relocate some utilities in that project. So this will give us a good head start on starting to get all that stuff in line. Also, last commission meeting, we were presented a fire assessment study that we had commissioned to be done. Our fire assessment took effect here in the county in 2018. Back then, the county did not have a good software system and good data to look at call volume and which categories that they were going to. And years ago, we commissioned some new software that gives us good, strong data on the amount of calls that we receive and which categories those calls and the percentage of attention that they're getting according to the fire assessment and the dollars that goes in. So you will see, you're going to get a notice in the mail probably within a few weeks that's going to advise the residents of public hearings when we discuss the fire assessment. What our task is now, since we now have all that data, we have to reapportion how the assessment is assessed. One of the categories I think that we're going to have to look hard at is the institutional category, which churches fall amongst institution in the institutional category. There's only 5 categories for the fire assessment: residential, commercial, industrial warehouse, institutional, and vacant land. And the institutional category, of course, also includes nursing homes and assisted living facilities. And that's what drives up the call volume to those type of facilities, because when you have residents that fall in these facilities now, the past year or two, it has been the policy of some of these facilities not to have their staff pick up or try to pick somebody up off the floor, but to call the county or the municipality to have them come perform that duty, so they're not exposed to back injuries, workman's comp claims. But that, of course, drives up the call volume extremely for that category. The property appraiser is only able to assign buildings certain categories that are from Florida statute and the Department of Revenue. So what we have to do as a commission, I'll just give you an example. Grace Bible Church, that many of you all know, their fire assessment now is $2,700. If we full implement the study and funding the study, their fire assessment would go to over $8,000. As you can imagine, that's not going to be real popular. So as a commission, we are able to buy down some of those increases. But what that means is whatever we buy down, we have to fund through general revenue into the fire rescue bucket of money. So anything that we discount has to be bought down with property tax dollars to buy those rates down. We do have the ability to buy down nonprofits, which churches are. So I think the commission is going to look at that, try to come up with something. As I pointed out in the last meeting, and certainly believe in churches and what they do for our community, but churches do not pay any property taxes at all, 0 property taxes. The only thing most churches pay currently in the county is their fire assessment. So I'm going to meet with some church leaders and talk to them about that. But we're tasked with, as you know, building a fire rescue department from what was all volunteer-based back in 2018 to now a blended system, full-time and volunteer. And we cannot protect our county the way we do without our fire system being structured like that. So those are things that are coming down the pike. I know you folks are working on budget also. County is in strong financial shape. One thing that we're fortunate of is that our fund balance, which is the county savings account, we're now right about 8 months of fund balance. What that means is the county could operate for up to 8 months with 0 revenue coming in, and the monthly cost to operate the county is about $7 million a month. Our board policy is 3 to 3.5 months of fund balance that we keep on hand, roughly about $25 million, so we can have those dollars available in case of hurricanes. Especially that is a big drain to county funds when the FEMA folks come rolling in and start picking up hurricane debris. They have to be paid on a weekly basis through those contracts, and we have to wait to get reimbursed from FEMA. So the county always keeps money in reserve for emergencies. But with the excessive fund balance that we have over the board policy, we will look real hard at being able to fund some of the capital purchases that we need in the county, especially when it comes to fire rescue equipment. Ambulances now cost $450,000 for an ambulance. You'll get about 4 years worth of life out of an ambulance because of the amount of hours that are put on them. They pretty much 24/7, 365, a lot of engine time and running. So ambulances wear out. About every 4 years, you need to recycle ambulances to newer ones. So that is fire trucks that used to be $500,000, $600,000 and now north of $1 million. It can take up to 2 years to get. When our fire equipment and safety apparatuses exceed a certain age, 20 years or older, they're not considered frontline ready. So that hurts your insurance service rating, your ISO rating, which can affect all the homeowners that are getting that discount. So even though we have some tough challenges in front of us as a county, we're in strong financial shape and we have some funding. If we take 4 months of that fund balance, it's going to be roughly $28 million that we can use towards purchasing some fire trucks and ambulances and things like that, and also some existing infrastructure needs that we have that we could use some funding for. So the commission will be looking very strongly at the use of those dollars or return them back in a millage reduction, and there may be a combination of both. So we'll continue to work on that. The residential category of your fire assessment, which most of you are going to be concerned with here today, is going to remain relatively flat. You might see a slight increase on residential, but not much at all because of the realignment of the apportionment of how those fees are assessed. Once we know what categories they're going to, the service is going to, by law, we're obligated to now charge the right apportionment of that percentage to those particular categories. The increases that we're going to see is going to be on the commercial, the institutional, and the vacant land parcels. I get a lot of arguments, why do I have to pay a fire assessment on my vacant piece of property? Let it burn. I don't care. It'll burn the underbrush. That's not the way it works. Brush fire is the biggest threat to our community and how our community is made up, as you've noticed out here. When these fires this time of year get moving through the woods, you start to get a little bit of a breeze. It's a freight train coming through the woods, and if you don't have the proper equipment and staff, we would lose millions of dollars worth of homes in this county. So we all have to contribute towards our fire rescue system in order to protect our neighbors and protect our community. So thank you for hearing my update, and I'll be glad to entertain any questions if anybody has any.
The fire out on Blueberry, is that muck that's burning?
Part of that, yes, is still some muck areas that are extremely difficult to get to. Sometimes those things can burn and smolder for months. But if we start getting some heavy rains, they did get an inch of rain out there 2 weeks ago, helped a little bit, but of course it's just so dry. But the rains will start before too long, they always do, and it will help that a great deal. But right now, just please encourage anybody if you see anybody burning stuff in their yard or what have you, please call and report that to somebody, because they will get somebody out here quickly, because it just takes, most fires that spread are fires that are just left unattended for just a few minutes at a time. Somebody turns to go in and grab a glass of water or something like that, before you know it, it's jumped across a lot or what have you. And at that point, there's no homeowner that's going to stop it. It's going to take for fire rescue. But yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Scott.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Madam President, real quick. Scott, I want to, from the staff perspective or from somebody's perspective, not only the county, but appreciate your drive, pushing initiatives that we've been talking about for years. And now within a short period of weeks and months, because someone's really pushing that bureaucracy. Yep. We all have it at all levels.
Yep.
Thank you on that. Appreciate your efforts on that with your county staff. Because this is more, it's more than just swapping roads. The criticality of us having a good working relationship with the county is when they are reworking that engineering wise, reworking utilities, that's where our new wastewater force main line has to go.
Yeah.
So our collaboration, working with the county engineer, my engineer down there, Drew, is going to be critical, that we don't want to tear up a brand new road that you're put down.
Sure.
Because we didn't have a good working relationship. So I appreciate that. We'll be working closely together on this as well as other initiatives, and I look forward to that process.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Boz, and it's been great working with you. And I've made it clear with the county administrator, the county attorney, that I want regular updates on what they're working on with your general manager here. There's other items that we're working on as far as building and development out here that we're working on. So I'm going to continue to press for those issues and make sure that I'm updated regularly, because as you can imagine, the county is a big county. A lot of legal matters and a lot of intricacies go on a daily basis. But Sun and Lakes is our largest residential community in the county. our largest tax base in our county, and deserves the attention. And I've made it clear with staff that I don't want things to fall by the wayside and fall to the back burner. I want to be kept up to date on what is going on. And if we need anything else out of Boz, he's been very quick to react and provide the county with the information that we need. But we'll continue to work together because I think communication certainly is the key. You know, I think we all know the wheels of government move very slowly. And I've learned that very quickly in my 3+ years of being a commissioner. But I've also learned that you got to continue to press these issues, because if you don't, there's so much other things going on that they will kind of get lost in the shuffle. So I'm committed to do that for your community. And certainly, please call me at any time. I'll be glad to help out any way that I can. We don't operate independently like none of you folks do up there. It takes 3 of you to do anything. I have no more power than anybody sitting in this room today. You know, it takes me and 2 other commissioners to anything to happen in this county or change anything. So I think we've got a good commission up there, and we'll continue to keep things moving forward. Thank you, Buzz.
Thank you.
You're still running unopposed?
My question.
Are you still running unopposed?
As of now, we still have until June 14th. The petition card filing deadline passed on May 13th. We're ready to get 691 petition cards verified. I did. And somebody would have up till June 14th if they wanted to go into the supervisor and pay the qualifying fee. They'd have to write a check for that. So certainly, that's the great democracy that we live in. Certainly somebody's able to do that. Campaigning is no fun. Politics is no fun. I've announced a few weeks back at the Republican committee meeting that this will be my last term. I want to do a second and final term. I'm not looking to make a career out of this. I want to get back to my community. I believe I've offered a good common sense approach, and I believe that I've demonstrated that I study every issue that comes in front of me. Willing to make tough decisions when they have to be made. That's not always the easiest thing to do in my position, okay? We have to make tough decisions at times, but I can assure you those decisions that I make are for the betterment of everybody in this county and not just a selected few. So appreciate you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. The,
Number one action agenda, so
Uh-huh.
one, I'm asking for a tabling until the next board meeting. There's some administrative language we need to clean up. Basically, instead of what's in your packet, one posting in the paper, the state statute highly recommending 3 separate postings. And that's why we need to carve that document that you all are reading into 3 separate documents. Get them approved individually, and then we'll start posting those in the newspaper. Doesn't delay our actions by other than maybe 2 more weeks.
are we doing the 25th
Well, I'm gonna bring the resolutions on 18.
on 18?
June. That's our
Okay.
budget. This is my budget. I'll bring them to you, so that same week we can get posted in the paper.
Okay.
Let's look at page 4 or 5 of the resolution, section 6.
Okay, 180.
The way it's worded indicates to me, when I read it, that if you start charging this year, everybody's going to have to pay $180 a year.
Check, we'll change that because we pushed everything 6 months. We'll change that language.
Now,
To reflect.
that has to read, or
It'll be $90, honestly. We just take half a year. So in 2024, everyone would owe $90, and then we would just add 6 months into the final year.
that's when you start charging.
Right, that's it.
I mean, if it's
Whatever
July,
the number is.
I mean, it's going to be 4 months, it's only $60. I mean,
Yes.
you have to be ready.
We will be clear once you all prove it, that will be the clock starting. Yep.
Okay. Unit 12?
And the same here, Mr. Hornick reached out to us on Friday with some clarification language, adjusting. He's gotten with his developers or his business partners. There's some numbers that they want to make sure are being appropriately asked. Can they meet the stipulations that we are going to require them for roads and infrastructure? So he's asking for a 30-day delay if at all possible. So this will be on June's board agenda for your discussion once he gets.
June 24th. Okay. C, the Troon Golf Management.
He was asked of us, staff last month, to have a start the discussion on this. We were reviewing all our contracts. Sherman's in that cycle. It's a major contract the district's involved in. So we've had legal review on our part. The staff has reviewed it. The summary, I'll call it, is in your packet here of what the contract simply oversees for us. They are an entity below the general manager that I deal with daily, as well as the staff on site. And we just wanted to ask for this discussion to start of the room. I'm sorry, Sarah. So we wanted to just get board discussion of concerns, comments, complaints about this contract. And we have Brian here from Troon, so he's available for any specific Troon questions. And then we have our general manager here. I open it to the board.
No, I wanted to bring this up. For some time now, I felt like this is something that needs to be taken over by the district. I want us to be responsible for the golf and restaurant operations. I have seen little value added from the amount of time that I've been on this board. There's so many times that we have asked, when we yell and squeak, we get attention. And they come, and very little has changed, in my opinion. We've had problems with the greens. Back 3 years ago, we had the problem. We had people from Troon, as I recall, come here and review what Jimmy had lined up to do, Mr. Murphy. At that time, they said they felt what he was doing in plan was okay. But here we are having the world's largest management group of golf courses review what was done and not come to us and say, historically, these greens cause these type of problems that you're experiencing. And the way to fix that is USDA greens. Nobody said that. And if it hadn't been for us last year being adamant about wanting something done to fix the greens on a permanent basis, Jimmy would be out there making bigger holes and going a little bit deeper in hopes of the irrigation being sufficient to provide us greens that are satisfactory. That was us. This was this board and that manager dictating that. It wasn't Troon or Indigo, whatever you want to call it. For years, I've been talking about the restaurant. We have 4,000 households in this area. And if it wasn't for golf members, that restaurant would have failed a long time ago. We have 4,000 homes with people driving by that restaurant on a daily basis that don't stop in and use it. Something is wrong. And we have said that over and over and over. I hope we can have Boz and his team review, but I can't believe that we're going to do any worse at managing our golf course and our restaurant than what's currently getting done. I really sincerely believe that we will do a better job. I don't believe in third parties. I don't see where they work. And I think it's time, in my opinion, it's time. I wanted it before, the timing was never right. And I may be wrong as far as the timing right now, but I think now is an appropriate time to take on that task. I hope that they come back with a plan that is suitable for us to agree on, but we can take that endeavor on. And that's how I feel about it and why I wanted it on the agenda.
Any other discussion from the board? Any discussion?
I'm new to the board, wasn't part of when we hired Troon or signed a contract with Troon. I don't know what they provide. I see the monthly meetings. $120,000 a year doesn't seem to be a lot of money other than 2 employees, as far as I see it. I would defer to Boz and his team if they come up with an alternative plan that would work or would seem to work for equal or less money. I would certainly consider that.
I have been in this business a long time, and I cannot agree. For us to employ a top-notch agronomist like Jimmy would cost us $120,000 a year, easy, with benefits. Thank you. And we also have our manager, our golf manager, Mr. Lemire. Would I like him to be more active in the restaurant end? Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. But the amount of money it would take to run a crew and do what they are doing, we could not get USGA greens for what we are paying. The money that we are saving with Troon far outweighs, this year, far outweighs the $120 that it cost. And that's from experience. That's from experience. And from running your own, before we had Troon, think back, our golf course was in miserable shape, and we kept putting money after money after money at it and got no results. At least we're getting some kind of results here.
We're paying that in. We paid for them to be, the $120,000 is strictly for true management group beyond Mike Lemire and Jimmy Murphy. We paid everybody that rate. The cost of having them do the work on the district would not be any different, except for maybe we have a different benefit package than they do, or whatever, but we're paying that anyway. That $120,000 is strictly as an overview of true
Well,
doing minimal, in my opinion.
I'm going to have to agree to disagree with you on this issue. I'm sorry. Members running golf course does not work. There are too many bosses. There's a difference between your yard and a green. There's a difference between your yard and the rough. There's too much knowledge that has to be done. I just disagree. Members running golf courses, especially 2 golf courses with this type of size of operation, does not work.
It's not members running the golf course. It's our agronomist that works for the district. That's who runs it.
And who did, okay.
Whoever that may be, I don't know who.
Well,
There's other people out there that
yes, there are. Yes, there are. And they're very expensive. Okay. I disagree. I don't think this is the time to contemplate taking out Troon. I think we need their expertise. And I would not, how much time is required for notification for?
6 months.
That is correct. I don't think this is the right time.
I'd like to hear from True.
Okay.
Good morning. Shut it off. All right. I'm Brian Rhodes from Troon. We are the largest management company in the world. 875 courses. 150 of those are municipalities. One of the reasons that we're so strong in municipalities is that every employee of that restaurant, every employee in that golf is our employees. So we end up being able to not necessarily follow, we have our own rules that we follow. We have our own HR systems. We have our own benefit packages. You don't get tied up into the labor savings is usually the biggest savings that you have when you come into a municipality under our umbrella. So that is one. The second one is procurement. Just to show value there, Our golf cars are 42 to 48%. Yes, you would get some state pricing. We still beat that by $350 a car. That was $35,000 last time we did that. On average, our maintenance equipment is 20 to 30%. On your new package that you just had, you were saving anywhere between 10 and 23% on the equipment. That was $1,000 of equipment that you purchased. Retail, IT for computers, fertilizer and chemicals, just ran the numbers over the weekend, averaging about $50,000 savings a year. So under our umbrella, we offer those savings. And I will take responsibility that, you don't see the value because we're not having the conversations, and I'll be more than happy to go and have those conversations and do strategic long-term planning, because we had done that before. We provided a district test. We've said these are the issues with the greens. These are the one ways to combat them and move forward. Obviously, there's some things in there. When I was a GM at a private club and a public golf course by myself, I didn't have the resources to follow up. One of the things that when I came and got under a management company was the resources. We have 500 plus employees. Many of them are local that provide Mike. I know I talk to Mike 2 times a week at least. 45 minutes away. I've seen Boz 3 or 4 times in the last 6 weeks. Jimmy is talking to our agronomist who's based out of Cape Coral. I've also talked to Jimmy. I've seen the project in our timelines here. We have an F&B national manager that's coming down this week to do an assessment. That's normal this time of year. So not only do we provide those operations where we can, compare KPIs, because a standalone golf course and your key performance indicators, what do you compare it to? You only compare it to yourselves. Obviously, if we're comparing it to others, I have 14 golf courses within 20 minutes of me. Within 2 hours. You guys are the only golf course in Highlands County. But that doesn't mean we don't have resources if we need to borrow a piece of equipment, or God forbid, one of the staff members gets sick and we need somebody to come in and sit on the facility for a short period of time. We offer that flexibility. So obviously, our pillars are operational expertise, revenue optimization. If you look back, we stood in front of the board and there was a couple of friend faces on here 3 years ago and came up with a plan. We've been a year ahead of that plan every year. So, if you look at our restaurant, it continues to trend in the right way in sales. Does it bottom line? No. Is it going to? Not for some time. But we've had this conversation where sales, service were so important. And our surveys have been very good as far as that. We've had some issues this year on the golf course. There's no doubt about that. And it's been some negative revenue impacting issues. So, hopefully I answered some of those questions and told you some of the values. I'll be more than happy to answer any direct questions.
I'll say thank you for talking today. I was here today, I had no idea what you offered. That's on you. I'm a new board member. Your contract's up October 1st. You owe us. You want my vote. You owe us information on what you provide. Today is the first time I've heard anything positive beyond, and I think you're here today as a result of us asking, not because you're here voluntarily.
Actually, I was here Thursday and found out it was on the agenda. I used to come to these every time there was a scheduling conflict when you guys moved to the Tuesday mornings. I've been able to move that back, and I'll be attending more often. I've sat down with each member according to sunshine laws. We have to go one-on-one. I'm more than happy to do that at any point in time. Mike and I certainly set that up. And Boz, every time I'm here, we speak to Boz. I think you would agree, right? Anytime you've reached out, or I've reached out to you, both communications have been two-way pretty quickly. Sorry.
Squealing.
A little better. Sorry. Any other questions or comments?
I happen to know as far as the equipment, maintenance equipment, you couldn't get a lease from John Deere. We ended up having to go in and buy that equipment and charge you back for that equipment.
That was part of the state pricing there that was in that package. That pricing was extremely good. It was the last year of John Deere's pricing in a 5-year contract. So yes, that was something that they started enforcing that they had never enforced before. So it was brand new to me. And I know we ran it up. I had conversations with people at John Deere. Same goes with purchasing some of the equipment with Everglades, because we were looking at purchasing it for some other properties. And, you know, they just didn't seem to want to work at that period of time with us on those agreements. They were they lost money on your equipment package. They're very easy to tell me that because of the inflation over the last 5 years. So they were trying to make it up everywhere they could on trade-ins.
Any other questions?
I'm good for now. Well, I can talk about it.
Okay. Thank you.
So, here's my thing. Since, for whatever reason, I've been around the longest. There's several things that have to be decided before we can even contemplate making a decision on this. One, are we capable of handling a takeover on our own? That would be up to Bob to come back to us and explain to us, yes, we can, or no, we can't. Two, I would like to see in writing from True what savings they think they're giving us, as opposed to if we were to take it over on our own, we would have an out-of-pocket experience, I guess. We have to pay for it. As you say, the contractors you guys have, the people you have, et cetera, et cetera. If that adds up to a substantial amount of money, I think that has to be taken into consideration. I can tell you though, I have been very disappointed over the years. I think the contract that we have is not acceptable to me. And I think Baker Company, $120,000 of their statute, how big you guys are. You guys don't need shit. You don't need anything to you guys. I mean, $120,000 to you guys is nothing. So, do you care how we do? So you do for the corporation. Do you care how you do? Absolutely. So I just think the whole contract, I mean, we used to have an incentive clause for you guys. That probably was a good thing, because it gave you a little bit of incentive to make more money. But at $120,000, $12,000 a month to you guys, I don't think you really care. You do, he does, but your corporation doesn't. That's just my opinion. That could be wrong. So I would like to see from Oz whether he thinks we can deal with this. I'd like to see from you what you think the additional cost would be that we're not even looking at, or that you're not even contemplating. And then I think we have a conversation about it and decide what we want to do. So I'm not saying yea or nay at this point. I'm leaning toward, I'd like to go on our own, but I'd like to see some more numbers and say, yes, it's possible, or no, it's not possible.
I agree with that. I mean, that's what I said before. Boss thinks we can do it. Show us that he thinks he can do it. And if he can't, consider other alternatives before they can issue.
I can tell you, I did it through the True alternative routine. I'd rather not deal with that. Either we figure out a way to make it work with them, or we go on our own. We spent
one very long time, several years ago, contemplating other, entertaining other companies. And I can tell you, they're all going to tell you how wonderful they are, what they're going to do for you, and you're going to be so happy, et cetera, with no guarantees whatsoever. So it's either them, in my opinion, it's either them or us.
And when we went through that 3 or 4 years ago, if it hadn't been for Truman buying Indigo in that last month, prior to us making a decision, I would have never voted for the contract.
What would have happened? Not,
It would, at that particular time, we probably would have thought it had the vote taken place, and the rest of them voted a different way, we would have gone with a different management. There were several, I can't remember,
we started with 6.
different
Six.
management groups, boiled it down to 3, if I remember right.
But nevertheless, they all promised.
Yeah, we promised.
A company that's going to make what they, et cetera. No, but I think it's interesting that Craig said for one of the returns stepping up. The vote was 3-2, and I can tell you the decided vote was that went towards Truman. But I'm saying if Truman didn't do what they did, what would we have done? Would we have not stayed with Indigo?
Well, we had other choices. We had Country Club of,
It was not an exercise.
yeah, it was. Yeah, yeah, there was 3 or 4, yeah.
Management had it.
And that's one time you showed up.
That's one time they all showed up. They had more people than we had in the audience. But they made a great presentation and they convinced us at that time to stay with them as opposed to changing. I mean, that's fact.
Well, I think we need to wait and get the more information from Boz and the numbers, and then we'll come back and discuss it.
I'd like to see it put on the schedule for next month.
Can you have that by then? That's only a month.
A lot of portion of your asks. Because what I'm hearing is that there needs to be some analysis on our part as a district. Can we cover what they are covering right now, HR, financial? So that's a simple enough answer. Team here, we can figure that out. What I would ask, and I'll work with Brian, he needs to really lay out all the intangibles you just mentioned. What's the value of Truman with the discounts and stuff? We'll have something to continue this discussion. I appreciate it all being on the record now that we can have move this ball a little bit further.
Hey, Bill, it's Tim. How are you?
Yes, we can have something by June.
Good. Hey, Melissa
More than likely,
texted
it'll
me.
take 2
She was
meetings
wondering
for
if
us to
someone
get
could
enough
let
data.
Cam know. I guess the board meeting, the mics are fuzzy and they
Okay.
have feedback.
Is there any public comment?
Oh, okay.
Can
I buy now?
Yes.
He can text her, I guess, because she's in the board meeting. But yeah, she was just wondering, if he was around or whatever. Because yeah, she said the mics are fuzzy and they have feedback. Oh, okay. I'm watching the meeting.
There you go.
Okay.
But yeah.
Really cool.
right.
All right, listen, we've gone around this many, many years. And obviously, a lot of people are discouraged because you have a fine facility here. And this is what really, really bothers me. It's like having a nice a bus driver, but no passengers. And that's the problem I understand. And it really, really, it's disturbing because, you're trying to blame an individual or the chef or the service people. It's not that. It's not that. It's a whole package. And I think that the positives you have is the clubhouse and the amenities, and you have parking, you have the top kitchen facility. You have a great view of the lake. That's the best view you get from a clubhouse. And anyone that I know of, locally or any place in southern Florida. The negative is the advertising. And I've insisted for many, many years, you got a rotary out front there, people go by. anywhere between 9 and 12,000 people. And they don't stop. They have no idea what this place is there. They thought it was a rest home, nursing home. So better advertising, maybe having breakfast, better or more banquets. It's all money. If it was a success and money was coming rolling in barrels, we'd have no problem. The problem is getting people in there. And how do we do it? We have to change the philosophy. I don't think we have to change Trone. I think they're doing a capable job, obviously, on the golf course. But there is a problem trying to get people in here. And I think where you got a beautiful building, new painting, and it's been so uplifting to see how everybody is. You know, you see downtown, it's being perked up. You see other houses being painted in the area. So anyhow, for my money, you've got to change the advertising. You've got to get people in here. That means put a whole bunch of signs on those rotaries out there. I mean, the guy down the street who says he's a delicatessen business. He put signs on that rotary, which is not right. Because I said, we got a restaurant right down the street here, right across, 200 yards away. People don't even go there. There's a reason for it. The advertising to get people in. I don't think a sign out on Route 27, electronic sign it's one way, but I don't think it really works. You'll have to have more personal contact with these people going up and down Sound Lake Boulevard. Nobody knows. That's my 2 cents. Thanks.
Any other discussion?
One thing I will say. I'm not arguing. I think Mr. Murphy is doing a great job on the redoing of the greens. I think we're right on target, doing that quite well. Doesn't have to be necessarily, in my opinion, managed by Drew. It's depends on the person you've got assigned to do it, assign people that are following through on that budget. But I can't argue with the success that I think we're having on redoing of the greens. I think it's going quite well.
Okay.
But, yes, the greens are going quite well, but I do want to remind everybody that several years ago, we had a problem with greens where it was complicated by a hailstorm. At that time, Jimmy was directed to tell us what it would take to fix the greens. Jimmy told us what it would take. It had nothing to do with the soil. He said, this is what it's going to take, this is what we're going to do. And it did. 2 years later, 3 years later, now there was a dirt problem. Could have been fixed, it should have been fixed 2 years ago. It should have been thrown out to us, decided to fire to fix it 3 years ago. It wasn't. Jimmy will tell you that he said, you don't want to know or something like that, you know, it's bad, but we'll fix it. He did a Band-Aid.
But that's what I said. That's what the Truman promise was supposed to do. And I would have thought.
We'll add it to the agenda item next month. We'll have as much data as we have. I'll leave it for discussion rather than a motion, and then you guys can figure it out.
Thank you.
We can go in.
Yes.
Okay. Any other public comment? Okay. Item D is, Boz, you want to take this one? Because this is different. Yeah. Okay. No, this is the other one.
We're doing this one.
We're doing this one.
Yeah, this is the development off of Deer 10. And Sunlight Boulevard, the Warnick development between the two of the
17.
17. In the legal's review of this, there's some language changes that we need to do in the memorandum agreement we approved last month or last summer. Namely, a change in the name of the company from Hornick LTD to Emerald Hills. No change in the expectations, sidewalk, the vegetation, landscaping, not at all. It's just an administrative change. So we're asking to bring this back for review and decision, signature by you as a legal.
That'll be next month?
No, we can approve this one.
Okay.
Yes. That's in there, it's signed by Mr. Hornick already, we just need Ms. Phillips' signature.
Okay.
This is the Emerald Hills memorandum agreement. So it's just changing the language here. Emerald Hills.
It's in G.
Agreement dated 22nd.
Yes. Changes Emerald Hills. That's all, there's no change in the land, the buildings, that all stays the same, it's just like legal language. The only change
Yeah.
is Emerald Hills. Yes.
Yeah, and I just as the agreement.
Is there a memorandum of understanding?
So the agreement that's up for approval right now is the agreement that's just titled agreement.
That's the original.
That's the original.
That's not included.
No. So what happened was last year, there was an agreement that you all, not all of you, but the board had entered into with Hornick Homes. There was a notice of commencement on the property, so the deed was not able to be signed by the district over to Hornick until very recently. When that got sent over to Boz, I reviewed it, and it was a deed that was transferring the property from the district to Emerald Villas. If you look at the original memorandum of understanding, obviously the agreement was between the district and Hornick Homes. And all of the obligations were the obligations of Hornick Homes, not this other entity, Emerald Gulf Villas. So just to make sure that, we'd be able to hold Mr. Hornick to, his obligations under the agreement. It made all the sense in the world just to whip up a new agreement between the entity that's actually going to take title to the property and the entity that's going to do all the development activity on the property.
You agree that there's a stipulation that
Yeah, it's right there.
It's in paragraph 2 of the agreement. It's the same language that was in the original agreement. The only substantive addition that I thought was necessary under the old agreement, the agreement 2023, there was some language that discussed if Mr. Hornick doesn't commence the project within a certain amount of time, if he abandons the project, he essentially has to give us the land back. There was no timeline on what abandonment meant, so we included a provision in the new agreement that abandonment would just mean any lapse or discontinuation of development for 18 months, so that we can.
18 months to start this. And a year and a half since before.
There was a hold on the property. There was some work done by a contractor, so they just wanted to make sure that time period lapsed, so that they didn't have to deal with any liens.
Why are you giving them so much time?
It just went through county rezoning just last month.
Yeah.
County took, since you approved it till last month, we didn't want to hold that against the developer. He couldn't do anything until the county said rezoning. So it went from conservation to now commercial that he can do.
He's got 18 months before he can start, or potentially before he starts.
My understanding is that he's looking to move quickly on this, but 18 months is a fairly standard amount of time.
18 months of everything.
There are no barriers now for him starting. There's no other barriers, government
No,
barriers.
just making sure we sign this is the only thing we're telling him, hold up, pushing birds. He's ready to do it. County's given approval, we need to put this language up, and then it'll start doing his work. And then two is the same language.
It's probably gonna sound stupid, but we're saying he's responsible for the landscaping, and exotic whatever, visit the golf course.
Yeah.
We know what that means.
Yes, I was out there on the property with him and I saw
Do we have that in writing already?
it. It,
We have that statement, the next product is what he submits to us for our approval, final approval. But this makes him present the plan. He's presented a plan for us for the border with the trees, landscaping. So we have that. It's getting refined as he lays out his community there. I don't see that. You're wanting that specific language in this?
I don't know.
I think that would be
I'm asking if anybody know what we're talking about.
We do.
I do.
He provided that, and he showed me the sidewalk and the other stuff. And we're working through our engineer on that, those products. And Jimmy's blessed off on the landscape plan of the buffer. So we're good on that. We could add it as an amendment. We can do that. An amendment to this.
are the plans in your office?
The plans for 6 months ago is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do copies,
Well,
yeah.
if someone has it, verify that he's doing what we expect.
We'll get copies and bring it to you, send it to you guys. Yeah.
I mean, not that I don't trust him. Yep, but I'm still right now.
So is it, so does the board want me to sign this today? Or would you like to go look at the plans?
Yeah.
No, we don't have to.
There needs to be a motion to approve.
Understanding with the
Emerald Hills.
Second.
Any further discussion? Call the vote, please. Oh, public comment? I thought I did that already. Okay.
Mark Armada. Is it on?
Mhm.
Okay. Myrtle Beach Drive. Ray Hornick is a reputable builder, and he does a good job. My issue is, as I've seen in some of the building that's going on here, what's the guarantee he's gonna actually finish this project? Over at Magnolia, he started that project and it got along, and then all of a sudden it was a complete stop to it. And he had buildings that were under construction that just didn't happen for quite a while because he ran out of money or whatever the case may be. Are we gonna get some sort of commitment from him that he's actually gonna finish this project? I guess that's my concern.
So I can help answer your question, I guess. The only provision in the agreement that with respect to his time, obligation to move the project forward is that provision that if he fails to do anything within the next 18 months, he's obligated to give the district back the property that we are giving him now, the certain section of the golf course property. Other than that, he's a private developer. He can develop at his leisure. Any agreement, any development agreement you might have would be with the county, site plan approvals, and all those approvals. That's all going to be through the county. The county's going to have their own time standards that would apply. So unfortunately, we have no control over that. But my understanding is that he very much would like to develop this piece of property, and that's why they're pushing us now to correct some of the administrative parts of this agreement.
So no time constraint at all. It'll take him 10 years.
Yeah, and Frank, the district does not have land use authority. Like I said, all of his land use approvals, his site plan approvals, that's all going to have to go through the county. So if you have any issues that you'd like to bring up with timeframe of development, keep a watchful eye at the county planning board and see when his site plan for this property goes up for approval. And I voice your public comments then. And maybe ask them to hold speak to the fire a little more and include a tighter timeline for development. Okay.
I just have one thing for next month. When we discuss unit 12, can we recap what the original
Sure.
contract was, what the
Yes.
obligations were?
Okay.
et cetera, et cetera. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Call the vote.
Supervisor Norton,
Yes.
Supervisor Brooks,
Yes.
Supervisor Herrick,
Yes.
Supervisor McLaughlin,
No.
President Phillips,
Yes. Okay. Discussion of the 2025 budget, drafted budget.
Yes, ma'am. In the board packets, the one-page summary, I think the citizens have a copy of that as well. That covers all your departments, as well as capital plans to the right, see that. And then, at the revenues at the top, expenditures by departments, it goes back 5 years. You have capital, that's a one-page summary, large document. Included in your all's packet, board members, you have the individual departmental budgets that feed that project. So if you want to get into the weeds of by department, of all their cost expenditure line items, that's the numbers that we bring forward to the summary, to that front page. This is just a discussion, show you where we stand. So we issued the general manager district budget guidance about 2 months ago. I've had now 3 meetings with all the departments individually and as a group. And we've reviewed the departmental budgets. That's the number you're being shown right now. Based on how they're following or not able to follow some of the budget guidance presented. We've put a critical eye on contracts, payroll, and other expenditures. So we are now in a position that moving forward, before we take your input as well as public comment, that we are on budget, i.e. we do not have to either go negative or cut a lot of items that we laid out. We were able to, within the existing revenue, which is close to 15 million, that we collect, all restaurant, utility, and general, we were able to expenditure about $990,000 worth of items from capital projects within the revenue generated. So all we needed to do is tap into $80,000 of our reserves for equipment, 2 vehicles. And that's why we built those line items of, to look at your monthly budget spreadsheet. We got about $2.2 million in reserves for recreation, equipment, that's it, add on, yeah. So in there, we built last year, you all approved that, we basically have 2.8 million, that's the green column for May. And in different categories, roads, buildings, equipment, subsidies, recreation. So these are reserves that we basically fence off for a specific item, project, that the district can do as a capital project. All we needed to do for next year's budget is go into the equipment for $80,000, bring $80,000 from that reserve, bring it into capital expenditure. Because everything else we were able to fund internally for the revenue being generated next year. So that's a good position to be in. We don't need to tap too much into our reserves. We can let those items continue to build some interest and build up over the years. So we had a large project remains. We're very comfortable position. So that's what you see at the very top of your summary budget summary. So you have our revenue being generated, general, utility, golf, clubhouse. And then you see an $80,000 number that's coming in from our reserves. That's from the recreation, the equipment fund. I'm looking at the one-page summary. So yeah, the sheet, very beginning, your package, the one-page summary. I'm looking at the top. So you have that. There it is. I'm sorry. So versus some towards 9 chart. It's up here. I'm looking at that top column where it says the $14.13 million, $0.3 million. in there is that $80,000. So that's all we needed to do is dip into that bucket of reserve. And we brought that money forward. We did not need to do that for all the other items that you see in that capital list. The repair of some buildings, the adding of art shelter, and so on and so forth. We were able to fund that from our revenue being generated throughout the year. As you see, $14.3 million. That is up from last year. Last year, right now, we're executing about $12.7 million. We're going to go to $14.3 million. There's some major, and it's not because we're needing to raise anything. There's some revenue that will be generated next year from FEMA stuff that we're going to receive the checks next year. That's what's going to take us over. And then the growth that we've had in the district, not even addressing revenue increase of assessments, the 300 plus houses that are being built will be actually occupied. They're being built, they're at a level where you have to start paying the assessment, and that is automatically generating revenue for us as a district. Even if they may be unoccupied and unsold, the developer starts paying the $800 assessment. That's an automatic the certificate of occupancy. So that, based on that revenue and all that calculation, 14.2 million we will collect. We are going to spend 14.2 million, about 3 million at the very bottom. So go through all your departments. This is across all the categories: club, utility, general. You go to the very bottom. We add about $980,000 in capital projects, and then we forced on ourselves that we are going to put $280,000 into our capital fund. We are going to put $200,000 into our reserve, our emergency reserve, automatic, just like we do in our households. We need to continue to invest in ourselves and have that rainy day fund. And the only transaction between departments is something internal, is that we are, rather than have a $40,000 charge in our roads and maintenance for grass cutting along the right of ways, we actually charge my golf guys. It's charging ourselves for this box next. But otherwise, that $40,000 will just be added to the maintenance line item. It makes no sense to have my roads guys leave the street, go cut grass, and go to the golf course and go back. So the golf community now expands into the roughs, cuts all the swales, cuts all the grass that should be cut. And that's a $40,000 internal charge back. That'll leave us with about $13,000 excess at the end of the year. Our district policy is whatever that number is excess, this will be refined over the next few months. We automatically move into reserves, or we reduce some of our capital projects by that. Since we're only in $13,000 number, it's going to be basically be a wash at the end of the year, and we will be budget neutral when it comes to the expenditures. I'm very comfortable across the departments of what we're spending. You see across there, yes, there were some departmental increases. That's the percentage line item compared to last year. You also need to understand that over this past year, based on how we restructured a lot of our staff, we moved some departments out from under other departments, i.e. HR left general administration, stood on their own. And that was more an initiative that if we go down the path of growth, be it golf, be it whatever, I have a standalone HR department and those numbers aren't hidden something. We did that in finance. We pulled all the finance folks, which we have a robust department now, out of general. We built a finance department, same concept. And we moved some departments around. So that's where you see there's a major growth because it was compared to zero. Of course it's going to be. But for the most part, across the district, our expenditures went up, what we're showing here, about 11% across everything. Payroll, expenditures, which we were shooting for a no more than 3 to 4% increase. But once we laid out with the inflation and that type of stuff, it's 11%. It's doable internal because I'm not having to increase my assessments by any. So I'm still recommending as the new GM that right now, across all our assessments, we keep them the same as this year. There's no need to increase. Across all our charges for amenities, I know there's an initiative we're moving towards trying to get them baked in. There's no increase right now. Don't need to increase it. The only thing that's mandated for us by the state of Florida, we have to increase 5.2% on our utility bills. So that will go up. And basically that was our logic going into this. I don't need to get the extra funds because we were able to make our budget neutral and not have to take any shortcuts, eliminate projects or anything based on not needing to raise the assessment. So I'm comfortable there. There's some reality logic here. I appreciate Scott's interesting way to frame that rates won't go up much. The reality is, in me following the county, that almost a given, your fire assessment rate's going to go up. Your millage rates, while may not go up, the county is adjusting everyone's base value, assessed value, so you will be paying more property taxes. And more painful one is based on the contract renegotiating the trash contract that we all pay for those services. That will go up. That will be the highest one. Right now, the number is between $150 and $200. That will shoot up. The contract is just really needs to be reworked. It's a county contract, it's not. But everyone else is raising. We didn't need to raise. So I'm highly recommending we just stay the course. We already have a $2,700 assessment on our parcels for the wastewater. That's what everyone's buying into and paying, so I appreciate that. But I don't think we need to follow it up with a rate assessment rate or increase. That said, we do need to put a critical eye this year on our assessment calculations. In my doing the calculation for the wastewater plant, highlighted that we have across our vertical category a little bit of misrepresentation. I got some commercial properties that are getting a very great steal on their assessment compared to a resident, three-bedroom house, either on golf course or not on golf course, paying a pretty high rate, and then you spin that down to the vacant land. We are going to need to acquire an outside source, a guy that does this or a company that does this specifically, to recalculate our assessments, present a plan to us, and then I'll present it to you of how I think in 2025 we are going to need to restructure assessments.
So the one that we did a couple years ago was not correct.
I'm not saying it wasn't correct. It's just saying,
to have that.
I got you, sir, yes. Not that company, but that company fed information. We're reaching out possibly to the company that did this 10, 15 years ago and set us up on a track that was more viable. And I'm saying, it's not going to change many categories. We're going to reduce some categories. It's really going to address our high-end users. I got Tanglewood paying for 1,000+ people by parcel a certain amount. That needs to be relooked. I got the hospital paying a couple $1,000, but I got a resident paying $800 for their house. That needs to be relooked. So over the year, rather than mess with assessments this year, I think I'm comfortable, very comfortable with the assessments this year. Remaining the same based on how we've grown, but we're definitely going to need to get an outside company to review, to present to you how we want to move this forward, reduce some of our categories. I don't need 6 categories for vacant land. I need vacant land and solar. Shrink down some of our commercial numbers. So that's a project that's built into this budget, built into under general admin. I can deal with that with an outside vendor, and we'll present that. But almost positive that in 2025, 2026, we will be discussing how we're going to tweak assessment rates up or down, but we don't need to do that this year. Nor are we ready. Status quo is fine. So other than specific input from board, and I'll bring back to you the citizen input that we're going to do in June, they're going to see some of these products. Just wanted to present that data to you. On the revenue side, that's that second sheet. A lot of details there by all our line items. You see, we are doing very well in our collection of our revenues across all our departments, including golf, restaurant, our utility. So even across all departments, 14.2 million is the collection. What this doesn't show, if you're, I know Mr. Brooks is going to zone in on it. It's not going to show the $2 million we're going to collect for the wastewater plant. You got it. So if you look down the number line, the green area, you see a $2 million number. That is not in the $14 million. I've extracted that because that's going specifically to a savings fund for the wastewater.
But it is, so on this budget summary, the first page.
Yep, it's the same 14.3 million. It's not shown there either.
Okay. Why don't we show
Well, I'm showing it because it's going to be captured in our reserves for the end of the year. We're collecting that money, it's passing through utilities, it's going right to our reserve account. So when you see at the bottom, go back to that page, at the very bottom, that $7 million number, in green at the very bottom of our 2025 number, that's what we expect to have in reserves at the end of next year, $7 million. That includes the $2 million input from our utility payments of the $2,700. To throw it into the utility fund as a $2 million revenue would be a little bit of false advertising that we would think that we could spend $2 million.
No, I was just curious.
Yeah. So we're
I
capturing.
would like to see.
Settlement Security, this is Tim, how can I help you?
Yeah.
What did we collect related to that?
Sure.
In that
Nope,
particular-
nope, that is just the residual
Oh, yeah.
smoke.
No,
They
we'll
just
show that. Once we get a firm number,
Based on.
The county commissioner was
Right.
out, talked about
we'll know that you're.
and it is going to continue to smolder for several weeks until we start getting some rain. That's going to dampen it, but it is it's just smoke and smoldering from that fire from last week.
We also, to give you.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
We show you what we project for 2025, 2026, and I only want to show that because I'm using this year. We've done a lot of changes in staff and departments, we've adjusted some stuff. We go into next year's recommended budget, and then as we go into 2025, we're pretty much status quo. We've adjusted enough. Because a lot of these staff we've talked about, possible additional finance person, HR person, I'm baking into next year's budget. So when we get to 2025, 2026, I'm not going to see a major change in numbers. And that's why you see your numbers between 2024, 2025, 14.2 million. The projections for 2025, 2026 is only about 14.4 million. It's not a big increase because we're basically got status for revenue.
What range are you projecting for merit increases?
So I'm recommending at least, at a minimum, the 3% COLA increase for all staff. And then I've kept a 2% my direction merit that I could throw at staffers if they warranted based on performance of the two. So an individual could end the year with a 5% increase. Okay. What we executed last year, when we did our performance evaluation, about 35-40% were awarded merit increase based on performance. It was not across the board. I'm sorry, it's true performance.
Good.
If you're doing great, you're just average, you're just average. Nothing wrong with it. I'll look you in the eye and tell you, thank you for your service. If you go above and beyond, then it's performance, you'll be rewarded accordingly. And that's from directors on that. When you look at this snapshot, it's basically a summary of just the, your point, Mr. Herrick, the wastewater is going to be collected, the emergency funds in our reserve, that's $7 million. That's the breakdown of this graphic here. That's showing where all our money is going to be at the end of next year, about $7 million. But right now, we're hovering about 4.5. And then across our departments, it's pretty even. It's that peace symbol, peace sign at the bottom right corner there. Between our general, our utility, and our golf course, they're all hovering around the $5 million collection range of revenue across our departments. So in totality, we generate about $14 million in revenue across our district. This is where you see the breakdown. When it comes to assessments pure, it's about 4.1 million, just assessments. So that's just from the what we send out to the bills in November. The rest of the money, the general revenue, is about $1 million, million plus. That's from permitting, code enforcement, fines, fees. That's collected by us, and that pays for certain entities, not tied to assessment. You see in the bottom left corner there what we expect in revenue, expenditures, and reserves. The unknown until we get closer to the end of the year, and we had the same discussion last year, as we roll out, pay out our bills, and see what's left in our accounts, there is a potential that I will be bringing to you in the September, October timeframe. This is our rollover number. So in the past, it's always been kind of not talked about. It just rolled over, it sat in accounts, they weren't generating any interest, and that's just not good government planning. So what we will do as a staff is once we close the books for 2024, pay all our bills, I will have a number to say, I now have, in this case, close to $3 million that I will be recommending to you what we do with it. We can put it in reserves, we pay off the capital projects right off the get-go, we don't take any loans. So we will have a number, we are estimating right now about $3 million extra. So I've been saying we're making about $14.3 million. More than likely, we'll get to a point that based on how we restricted our budget this year, we will end the year with a couple million, $3 million extra. And we will have that by our mandate, by our policy, we have to either put in reserves or pay down a capital project. And so I think we can have a pet project, but we can have the $1 million in capital projects, we can just pay for them all right up front. Now we have in our budget about $900,000 to again throw into our. So we're in a very good financial position, hence the need not to raise any assistance. And then finally, for citizen consumption here, the biggest question we get all the time, what do I get for my assessment? So when you call our office, we have this simple graphic that we present. For the $4.1 million that we collect on assessments only, out of the $14 million we generate as a district, I can't, because you pay utility bill, because our golf makes about $4 million a year, that's not what you're paying for your assessments. Out of the $4.1 million we collect for assessments, the breakdown by percentage is take your assessment bill, use that percentage breakout, and that's what you're paying for those services. For our security department, for recreation, go into our reserves, code enforcement, and so on. What you don't see up there is any of your assessment going towards the golf course or clubhouse, any of your assessment going towards the utility department, any of your assessment going towards our permitting department. Because the permitting department is making about $1 million of revenue totally on their own from all this new construction. So that's coming in there, paying for my permitting folks, and sitting in there in reserves. So truly, when it comes down to your assessment, there's a lot of stuff on there that you are not having to pay for based on your assessment. The one oddity in there is I say district payroll. In all those percentages, grounds maintenance, recreation, payroll's baked into that number. But if you collectively took the district staff and said, out of your district staff of 55 people, you'd be paying 48% of your assessments. It's not a good percent, honestly. You'd be paying 48%, half of your assessment bill is paying for people, which is fine. That's what we pay for payroll and benefits. So set that aside. When you go across all our departmental areas, you're seeing where the bulk of your assessment money is going. So again, to continue to beat the drum, to try to inform our residents properly, your assessment money that everyone out there pays is going just to those categories. It is not going towards the Greens project. It is not going towards our utility, our wastewater. It's strictly going to those departmental areas that directly impact you as a resident of something. They're wrong. That's where it's going. I think that's all I have. This capital plan, if you want, it's in there. It's the 5-year capital plan. It lays out a lot of projects that we want to plan for. This is where some of that extra money at the end of the year, we could make a vote in November and say, hey, we're going to have an extra $1 million, put it towards the new pool, put it towards the new clubhouse, whatever. And it's fenced off just for them when we have these extra bonuses. That's all I got. So
Okay. Public comment? Wait a minute. Yes, I am. Sure.
Good afternoon, Bill Norcross, resident. It's an excellent budget that is proposed. The only thing that I'd like to see, especially with a $14 million tab and having $3 million left over at the end of the year. I like that idea. All right, but the only problem I have is it's the roads. My favorite subject, he knows about it. The 10% for the roads, I think it should be increased because there are corners that are falling apart, potholes. They painted some lines out there, that's great. But I really think that a little more emphasis on the roads. I think you were saving a couple $1 million, but I think it could be budgeted up more. Thank you.
We're putting in average $500,000 a year on
Roads,
That's
yeah.
about 3 miles a day.
Right. Any discussion from the board?
I have a few questions. On the recreation and bubble act, recreation expenditures, miscellaneous special events. I'd like to see something run for Easter, something probably like the past. Then I can say we don't have the money to do it. But I would think that we should consider doing something. Really start to make progress in doing things for the community. And I think for Easter, you tell me there was a egg hunt down the street, somebody else had one, we didn't have one. And Halloween, we don't really make a big deal out of it. And I'm just challenging us, perhaps we should. That's that one.
We added New Year's Eve fireworks.
Yeah,
That's a new one. We added residents welcome back party for our snowbirds. That's different. I'm gonna keep it kind of similar, just not as dressy as our anniversary. But come the winter months, late fall, winter, we wanted a welcome back party for everyone that travels and comes back. We're still working that, but we added that. But Easter, Halloween, we can look at that.
Halloween is really kind of self-propelled because Halloween, we have so many children that trick or treat I know on my street. I know a lot of streets have none, but we do. We used to have the half marathon runs. Yeah, the 5K. We used to have the 5K runs, and that was fun. Stuff like that, but
We did the trunk or treat.
Yeah.
Very well received.
Yeah.
A lot of people came.
right.
We would probably expand on that. It's not Halloween night, but it's like a day or two before. So all the kids still get dressed up and then come and they hang out with their families. That's kind of where I think I would throw the emphasis on, or a sporting event. And we could have more official like Easter or Halloween trunk or treat.
Yeah, I just had to put this on my list. By the way, I didn't notice that.
Well, we do want to throw some money into our new Sun Lake Boulevard and
Yeah.
amp that up. Now I don't mind buying trees, I don't mind.
I do have a question. The roads is drainage. What is a roads deputy? Is that roof division?
So
What do we have on it? I'm not aware.
if we're really using an internal position, I'm getting rid of the quote mechanic. That person is going to, because of the skill set, his ability to act on Bob's behalf, it goes to potential future departures of the staff. Not that he says he's leaving, but I need to start building a plan of redundancy. So my mechanic will move up into the more role of oversight management. He'll still be mechanicking, but that's going to build a plan over time. Roads is really spread these two areas. They're doing maintenance, they're doing roads. And I'm just really pulling Bob so many different ways that I want him to be as the director, so, but give him someone to help manage that.
We have so is that a new position? It's a new position.
Everything new, and we're building that in.
So he's taking the place of the mechanic.
Yeah, we have a changeover plan. In some of these areas, in blue, you'll see the future potential is as a standalone position. Over next year, a lot of areas in blue will remain vacant as we totally build out the staff over time and then eventually populate it.
But this was listed as if he's there already.
Oh, yeah, no, not. Okay, we'll fix it.
That's what I was asking.
I got you.
Oh, payroll. I guess I'm a little confused that South Labor wants to go up 7%, and sales and marketing labor wants to go up 5%. District is only raising 3%. So why would we let Alfred have bigger increases?
So the biggest driver of that is the minimum wage increase. So the minimum wage increase is about 8%, which in those departments have, it'd be golf, restaurant, yes, absolutely. So that's not, so we have the largest portion of minimum wage employees, all of our servers, bartenders and all of that. They're all getting a guaranteed 8 to 10% increase based on minimum wage increase. So the minimum server wage is going from $9 to $10, and we're going from 12 to 13 on minimum wage. So that's the biggest driver why that percentage is going up that high.
On utility operations, I'm curious, contractual, what's ProServe Consulting?
That's professional engineering and so on. So a lot of our projects we require outsourced.
Why is it $270,000? What is that? I mean, it's a lot of money.
Oh, okay. No, that specifically is the water meter project. That's not a capital project anymore, it's built into operations.
Right.
That's what we're.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
That's the water meters. And then on a couple lines further down, utilities, 1,000, what is that?
That's power, direct power, electric bills.
Going up that much?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All the lift stations, everything's just.
Okay. I just want to make sure that we're on the same page.
What is left on the meter program?
We're done all the meter installs. So now we've transitioned really to the contractor, Travis Waterworks, that are still working with us on an annual basis. They're the ones that provide us the data reporting mechanism of all our meters. But and all we're doing with sustainability partners is if we're still buying more meters, which we buy about 50 every quarter for new construction. We are going through them. They send us the meters, we pay them, they get added to our network, and then they're all being monitored by Waterworks. I'm more than likely see in this budget cycle that the need for that consultant goes away once we flesh out our utility customer service department. So that additional $100,000 may not required because we would have the capability in-house between my billing person, customer service, and now my finance manager just for utilities. We've reworked our utility customer service department. We would have the ability to do close to what they're doing for us, but I probably need another year to get that worked out.
On human resource expenditures, down at the bottom, all those things in blue, not a lot of dollars, but they're not in total. They're supposed to be.
Not in the total. No. 75 to 5.
The 15, 25, 2,000, 1,000.
Okay. Check.
I don't think they're in the total. All right, so we'll defer. I mean, I think they're higher.
Yeah, no, I'll make sure. I'll give this a formula problem.
What do you want to have? On your closing assessments. I know so you think you're going to carry over a couple $1 million this year? Is that something that we should be able to think about every year, or is this just a unique situation?
No, it's still unique. It's just like last year. Because we haven't been presenting that appropriately to past boards. That money is in our check writing accounts. It just sat in there. It always gave us a very confidence feeling as a staff. And again, we need to present that as actual end of year revenue. So I think last year we moved a lot. That's why our reserves are so high. This year we're going to move some more. I think once we get to the right level, look at your accounts. Once we get those accounts to the right level we need in our checkbook, then that rollover goes away. We are still tweaking that. I got 3 or 2 million. I got 3 million sitting in my utility check. I do not need 3 million sitting in my utility check. Need about $1.5 million. So but we're leaving that in there as we see how we pay our bills. So we're gonna get to a point probably in the next cycle where the top part of this report, the fund report gets smaller, and all that gets moved into actual reserve or savings account. There won't be a big rollover.
Well, on this report, correct me if I'm wrong, it says it's the emergency reserve. It says that we're estimating in May 857,000. We still have to take out 225,000. Is that correct? Is that how I read it?
We actually took all that out already, the 180 for signs and the 45, we've actually extracted that already. That's why it's in black, I'm sorry. If it's in red, that means I haven't actually moved. Yeah, I apologize. So all the
That should
reductions,
be listed.
well, it should, no, I just leave it up there one more month, no.
So we're at 857 with no,
Yeah,
except for the 400,000 that we know is on.
yes, and the goal is to have $1 million in that account, and at least $2 million by our district policy. $2 million in our strategic reserves, and $1 million in our emergency reserves. That's our goal. State requirement is only $2 million. Like Scott was saying, they're supposed to have $3 million every month. We have a $2 million requirement in our strategic reserve that state mandated. We added another $1 million as a buffer for hurricanes.
I mean, the one that I'm concerned about is the emergency reserve. I think $1 million, based on everything that we know. Sure. Like, we just had a problem that hasn't even been discussed yet, it's $400,000.
You're right, so
It's coming down the road here, next month probably. I think $1 million under the circumstances at 50 years old, we have all these problems. Which brings me to the point I was saying about, the question on
The rollover, 2 million?
Assessment. I think it's dangerous. I mean, for years, Center Lake didn't charge residents an increase in assessment, and it's coming back to bite us in the butt. And I think the pass on any year is not necessarily a good thing. I mean, we're great today, but I don't know what we're going to be tomorrow. And I don't want to have to all of a sudden say it's got to go up 7 or 8% in the community because of the problem. My concern on assessments is, okay, maybe make it, you don't have to go up 5%. Going, but if you get into a habit of not going up, it's not a good thing. That's just my opinion. I don't know if anybody else has a concern or not. I mean, like I was surprised if it happened.
If we, again, I'm going to continue to recommend this year, no, if we want to increase a certain percentage amount, I would highly recommend it's directed for a specific, i.e. right to the emergency fund. We are increasing assessments by X amount, 1%, 2%. It's going straight into the emergency fund for hurricanes, for something.
I mean, that's the
Then you're tying it, otherwise you're looking at like, we as governor just collecting extra money to spend extra money. I wouldn't do that.
That's the fund that I'm concerned.
Yeah. Do that.
I don't know how the rest of the country. Okay.
No, I'm not saying that we shouldn't. And I was more focused on the fact that we weren't going to raise it, which is going to be well received.
I understand the county's going up a lot, but quite frankly, that's got nothing to do with the district.
Well,
The district has to protect itself. Sure. Not do something because of what the county's doing.
I just use that as a reference point. Everyone's bill is going to be about $6,000 to $1,000 more next year.
I understand that, but I'm worried about the district. You guys want to say pass this year, but let's look at it seriously next year? Reluctantly, I would say yes, but I'm telling you, $1 million in the emergency reserve fund under the circumstances of today. Not my opinion, I don't know.
what's 2% rate?
Oh, no, it's not.
It's going to be less than $100,000.
It's yeah, if you go 3%, it's $160,000, it's like $30 a year. I mean, I've already done the math, it's very little.
82
But
grand.
some,
2% is 82 grand. Worth the squeeze. And $2,000 across
I-
5,000 or 12,000 people.
Or is
Or
the,
do we utilize special assessments for those type of acts? If we have an act where we need to get some money into that fund, that we do a special assessment. That task, that ability is out there for us, right? No, that's it. That is not an assessment. I don't like confusing that. What we're collecting for the wastewater plant is not an assessment. Our assessment is one thing. That is a special charge for wastewater.
that's correct. That is absolutely
But
correct.
But when you said, because otherwise your assessment goes up.
Here's the deal, you have $857,000 in the emergency reserve right now. That number shortly, in a very short period of time, is going to be $457,000. Correct?
No. The payment for Sunlight Boulevard is gonna come straight out of my utilities operations account. Because they're sitting on $3 million right now that they don't need.
So you're not taking it.
Not taking it out of reserves. And any work going on with Sunlight Boulevard is straight out of the utility operations. Based on the amount of money we have.
That's your example.
Yes, it is.
So that's $400,000. Well, who's to say we don't have the same thing next month? I'm just saying, getting into a habit of not raising assessments is not necessarily, in my opinion, I'll leave it at that. And I believe there's only $40,000 going into the emergency fund based on that budget.
So I'm putting in next year.
Okay.
But if we know we're gonna have, based on projection, 3 million next year, cannot that be tagged?
It will be the same discussion like we did our budget.
Yes,
I'll
we
bring
will.
back to you how much is left, what I recommend you do with it. And that's what we do.
And
I'm just trying not to get into a bad habit.
I don't want to get into a bad habit, but I think it might be great PR for our citizens to have no raise in assessment since we're being raised by the county so much. Because a lot of people, $600 to $1,000 is not a lot of money, but to a lot of people it is. And we're already paying more money at the gas tanks and at Publix, and that's all I'm saying. It might just be some good PR to just stay status quo.
I said my case. On the revenue page, I'm just curious. But the assessment number for $4,100,000, that's the most. I mean, we're already at it.
We are, but we're at that reason because finance has been very aggressive in collecting a lot of past due. So it's not tied to what we actually generate, what's required to be generated in 2024. It's based on being aggressive to collect a lot of past due debt.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, I looked at the credit curiosity, collected $500,000, paid September of last year. If we collect the same amount, we're going to be at 4.6 or 4.5. I'm just.
No, that is, if we produce 12,000 parcel bills next year, it comes to about $4.2 million over asking. But the reality is we're collecting a lot of late, past due. That's why if your yellow column, that's just to date, that's 6 months to date. We've already collected close to $3.7 million.
Well, as last month, it's 4.1.
Yeah, but we're still going to be collecting hundreds of thousands between now and the end of the fiscal year. It's just we're getting very aggressive in the collection process.
Which is great. Sure. Should not have planned it like that.
Well, I can't guarantee you collections, people paying. I can just guarantee you what I print for bills.
I think the number's low, but we can leave it at that. What is $250,000?
The only settlement that may be coming in next year is the Avante.
Yeah.
So I could put that as the Avante lawsuit for water meters. That's the only one that should be wrapping up, and we will get a settlement.
Oh, so we're thinking that might be the number? But that's
Just saying, that's his place. I wouldn't guarantee that. Just wanted to be upfront about it. That's the only lawsuit that we have pending.
On connection fees, I understand April went up $197,000 just in April alone. But our total for the year is like $465,000, and you've got $450.
The only development that we know of during this budget cycle was about 200 homes from major developers for next year. Or drop-in requests. That's the Horton. Hornick, sorry.
Hornick. No, Horton.
Hornick.
What about Horton?
Well, Horton's is a very recent discussion, so that's fine. So as of right now, the only ones that said we will drop in permits this year that roll over to next year equals the 450 number I'm showing. That definitely, I mean, right now, we're gonna bust $1 million in permit.
Okay, so you're comfortable with it?
Oh, very comfortable. That's actually just gonna go up. But until I get a contractor says, I will build, here's the permit, can't give you that money.
Okay. I will tell you the cost in driving range fees that you're planning is damn near impossible based on the current numbers that they have.
Revenue from driving range.
Yeah, revenue, they're not going to do it. It's like a 14, 15% increase based on the numbers that you guys. So I think that's way too high.
Okay.
Which brings me to another point on the ballot. You're gonna love this one. According to Mike's, in 2023, the combination excluding capital, Dolphin Restaurant profited $223,957. 2024, your estimate $272,174. Mike's estimate on this sheet is $193,564. The plan is to only pick up $169,961. So here's my point. We're going the wrong direction in the Dolphin Restaurant. The plan current outside capital calls for, I'm rounding, $170,000 increase, $170,000 in profit, which is less than we did last year. Less than, right? It's just not acceptable, in my opinion. So I'll throw that out to you, and you guys can digest that, see what you want to do. Okay. Capital. I know we don't really look at capital for this coming year because that's immediate. I am concerned about the 7 months that are there. One is, I assume the lift grinder on the utility project, that's got to come out.
Yeah.
That's the 50,000 that you said we're going to.
Yep.
We're doing that. So that'll be changed very soon.
Yep.
I see that we listed $25,000 of snack shop improvement in 2 years, 3 years. That's 75,000. I'd like to know what the plan is on the snack shop.
Sure.
Or snack shack. Do we have, I mean, is there a reason for spending 75,000 and what are we trying to accomplish?
Yeah, I mean, the reality is we do a strategic plan for that.
We didn't even open this.
Gotcha. That's exactly my concern. That's a revenue generator that's been totally neglected. The challenge we have is, can our existing restaurant operation do it? Or is it time for us to seek an outside vendor to run that and just pay us? So we have to have those discussions.
Yeah, I mean, I can't time off on this until I know.
For us to find for us to get that even in a position where we can operate it, and the kitchen needs to be reworked, some seating needs to be reworked, we need to fix that area up to make it viable. Right now, it's just storage for the beer carts. That's unacceptable because it's a totally missed opportunity. And it's not for the golfers. It could be a spot that how we work parking, that anyone could drive by and grab a burger, grab something, not time to sitting in a restaurant.
I'm just pointing that
Yeah.
out.
We will lay out that plan when it comes to that snack shack. Yes, sir.
I'd also like to see, I guess, the community center. There is some monies allocated for that. But I'd like to know what the next plan is for the community as well. Before I sign off on anything or read it, oh, here it's $20,000. I mean, what? What are we trying to accomplish? I probably would be in agreement with it, I just like to know what it is. $50,000 for the bike trail?
We want to continue the bike trail from Ortega, pushing it out towards the preserve out there in the back.
I'm not a bike rider, so I'm not that familiar.
I think it's highly utilized by walkers, bikers, golf carts. And right now they dead end at Ortega, or I'm sorry, Ortega, not Cortez. We want to push it further, but we're also looking at grants to get us to replenish our money. But it's going to take us about $200,000 to get from Cortez all the way to the park in the back. Then that's a continuous bike trail from 27 all the way back there for walking, biking, golf carts. And, that's part of our plan, just the segments.
Street lights, $50,000 a year, but it's only for 2 years, why not further?
No, we need to. Yes, sir.
So we're gonna,
The goal is over the next 5 years, we need to invest about $250,000 in street lights.
I think you only have 2 years.
Okay.
So that I appreciate it. What is shell roads?
So shell roads are the first step in how we're going to monetize, I'll call it, all our parcels that are out west. So right now we have platted roads, they're just on a map, there's no ways or something to get to that parcel they own. And for us to start pushing development back there, we as a district will push in a gravel road, I call it shell road. We'll push in a gravel road that's on the map shows X road. We'll push in that. We also gives us the opportunity to lay our new wastewater lines and that type of stuff. And as soon as I give them road access, give them, those owners, road access, now they can do something with their land. They can actually build a house, they can start development, assessments increase. It's a small cost for us as a district, but it forces development in areas that have been neglected. So we need to start baking in some numbers. Now, that could be in conjunction with a developer, that we are wanting them to do that. And that's part of our development agreement. And then they got it.
I mean, you've got it scheduled for 27, 28.
Yeah.
I was just curious if you.
Yeah, that's what it is. For all those.
2027.
North and south, sunlight. Don't ever.
Okay, and then I assume we have a handle on this, but road equipment over the next 5 years is, you're looking at $650,000.
Yeah, because the biggest part of that is we, as mentioned again today, we are needing the right equipment to do our curbing, our Miami curves, and the best way to do that is most economical is we own that piece of equipment, and then my roads crew is knocking out concrete all day long. That's a major expenditure.
Well, you have it spread out over the.
Yeah, we're able to buy it, parcel loan, I guess. So on a lease plan that we own it again. So that's the biggest piece that further roads the park, not any other heavy equipment.
Okay. Doll. Oh, no, let's go before I go into doll. The pool, it used to be $2.5 million, now it's $750,000. I'd like to know what's.
We're locking in, it's based on the composition, it's going to be a L-shaped pool. It's not going to be an Olympic sized pool that's flat back. That's a $2 million expense. We're wanting to do a 50-meter lap pool, 4 lanes, and then there's a segment like an L shape that's for swimmers just to hang out and not do laps.
So, what I was looking for was an adult pool because
it is for adults, not everything. We'll be focused on adults.
Is it big enough?
Oh, it'll be focused on adults. Adults.
Okay.
I mean, I want it big enough that we get 60 or 70 adults into the pool.
Yeah, well, the numbers we gave the contract to look at numbers is 100 people occupiers, just for the adult. Right now we have 60.
And that's down to $750,000.
Well, it's just the type of pool we want design wise. I want
Well, that's
a
great.
10-lane Olympic sized pool. Unless you guys want that, that costs a couple $1 million.
And the upkeep would be, the upkeep on it would be significant.
So tied to we're updating our recreation plan, they're going to show us the new graphic of what that pool looks like. And based on the type of pool we can get. cost.
Now, we're going to discuss the snack shop. On the, Mike, help me out if I got this wrong. What process are we planning on doing on the Turtle Run sometime soon? The jet air jet?
So the dry jet, we are doing June, which is in my report, June 26th.
That's going to be done this year, correct? I was under the impression, correct me if I'm wrong, from Jimmy, that if we did the dry jet this year, we would be able to probably hold off on doing the Turtle Run Greens for 2 years. Is that not correct?
Correct. So the dry jet we're going to do this summer, and then in this plan is the drill and fill, which is on the capital list. You'll see drill and fill on there. That is for next summer.
Why am I doing the greens? Are we not going to?
Well, go ahead.
Are we not going to oversee Turtle Greens this year?
The overseat for Turtle Greens is in this budget, yes.
I guess what I'm trying to get at is I think $250,000 allocated for 2026 for the greens, 1 through 9, could be delayed to 2027 based on what Judy told me about the dry jet. That's what I'm throwing out on the table.
What you saw done on Turtle, what's going to continue to be done on Turtle this year, will give you the proof of how viable, and how long we can get proper use out of Turtle. What the worst case is, there's a potential that we need to throw money at Turtle, just like we're doing here.
Turtle conversation, though, would be the same if you have a deer. I don't think you do 9 of one year, and the other 9 the other year, you do 18 if you don't fall. So I'm challenging the 250,000. I think probably we moved it to 2027.
Okay.
Based on, unless Jimmy has changed his thought process.
No, I don't. I believe the thought process is the same. Doing that process over time should get you to where the point where you can replace them, yes.
Quite frankly, there's only 2 greens, right?
Mhm.
There's only really 2 greens now in total. That's 14 and
17.
17.
17.
the other greens are really pretty damn much shape. So I'm not looking to necessarily spend this money.
Right.
We can push right.
Okay.
But if we're, again, the fact that we're seeding the greens for the next 2 years should be enhanced.
But you're still going to have the transition period in May.
But I understand.
Okay,
that.
as long as you understand that, when they,
You oversee the reaction to the cold weather.
exactly, of which we had none this year.
Oh, that's what we had, that we lost in the beginning.
Yeah.
At least that's what I'm being told.
Tell me about why the new cards went from $150,000 a year to $250,000.
Right now, we have that's about $1 million for that project. Roll it up.
Are we doing, what are we planning to do?
Well, we have 2 years left.
I think
We have 2 years of life to live with.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah, so we're gonna ride the warranty, but quality of the cars based on staff, that we can definitely get another year, 2 years out of the current, without having to spend a lot. But regardless, we know we're gonna be having major expenditure, close to $1 million for 100+ new cars. And I wanted to start baking that into our recreation fund, so we don't get hit in that 1 year. So that's where that only $250,000 goes. Well, I'm spending $250,000 that year on building up the war chest to buy cars outright. I don't want to lease, I want to own them, just like we're doing now. We don't need to have that paid out every month or year.
So the plan is to buy our cards now instead of renting?
That's going to be the most cost effective.
Yep.
We own them like we do now. We own them now. We own these cars.
We don't need to buy.
We own them.
Mm-hmm.
And we can sell them when we're done with them.
But we only paid $150,000 a year for 3 years, so $750,000 for 100 cards. You're telling me now it's going to be $1 million. And the plan is to, okay, we're going to buy.
I mean, the reality, okay, the whole car discussion, we're 2 years out. You definitely need feedback from the board of how you guys are more comfortable going with it. I know I've had Mike put some numbers together on what our concept could be, lease, rent, buy, or whatever. I I just, on this, is to show you we need to start fencing also.
Right.
Yeah.
Before you leave, Bob, back during the season, we ran out of beer. And my understanding is we didn't have enough room for all the barrels of beer. Is there a need to expand where this beer is being stored, or does that have to be, is that something that should be on the capital project?
No, I think with working with the vendor, because the beer vendors, they're the ones that order that. I think in the wintertime, and I've already told them this, that we could use inside cooler space to put a couple extra kegs in there, and we actually just made a dolly so we could haul them from inside to outside. I think we'll be fine. We just need to make sure the vendor's giving us what we need. So I've had some pretty stark talks with him over that, so we'll make sure that that doesn't happen. But yes, to your point, that keg cooler is very small and they're stacked too high, and it's kind of a jungle in there when you got to go put a new keg in there, but I think we should be able to manage it. Yeah, I think there's room to build it out some. We can, yeah. We can.
I'll look at it. We
Yeah.
just spent a lot of money on fixing the damn paper.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
let's get it fully functional now, because now all the coolers are fixed, it's being underutilized. So let's get it up, 100% operational, we can do an add-on.
For sure.
Thank you.
One last thing on, this rate sheet. Y'all rate sheet. I mean, it's just not worth it. Why, I still have a very serious problem with printing our rates when we know damn well we don't. I mean, I just think it's not, and we have this conversation every year, but if you look at the Wall Street rates, if the lowest is $37, and if you look at our current rate for outside play, it's what, $35. These numbers that we print, and you want to take it up $2 a year, or $2 in each category, it's a waste of time and money. Why do it? The only people that pay these rates are the residents. And they get screwed.
So I'm not following yet, because when I print the sheets and put them out there, the rates by category are within pennies of what they're posted here. What you're seeing, every time we get on that APR conversation, and I've broken it all out, and I've sat with Boz and broken it all out with him, that like the hotel rates, they're right on the money. Those public rates, they're actually within pennies of each other. And the ones.
How can you tell me that we're right on the money on everything? So, our average rate is $35, $36.
Correct. So, correct. So as we speak to all the time is when we have all our 9-hole rates on there, those 9-hole rates all calculated as a full round. Those all drag it down. The member guest pass that we issue out, all of those rounds at $25 in the middle of the season when we're getting 50 for the public, that drags it way down. Twilight drags it way down. We've spelled it out on those sheets, and I'm happy to, in fact, I actually have it broke down for all these rates and how to calculate next year.
Not even close to reality. If you were close, I'd be okay, but you're not close. Perhaps if we start charging what we say for this, we do much better and make more money. You know, if we take it up $2 or $3 and the average rate, we probably reduce the number of rounds by 1,500 and still get the same money.
Right. And I'll leave you with this sheet of paper that I did for the generation, which comes off of all of our APRs. And you'll see that I calculated all the rounds that we'll get per category, what the cost is, the new price, how that breaks out, and that averages out. So I have it all broke down. I'll give you a copy of it when we're done with the meeting so you can study it.
Just so worried about putting people on the force as opposed to making money. Just because you put people in the course for 20 clubs doesn't mean you can make any more money. Doesn't. I mean, your numbers show that. You know, again, I have a problem with it every year. I can't find what money to raise. I ask you to relook at them, make them more realistic. And why would you raise the resident and member guest rates, but we're not going to raise the members for their membership? I don't understand that. You get that one, you didn't get that one. That went over your head. You know, didn't hear it. He's raising the member guest rate and the resident rate, but not raising the membership. I have a problem with that.
Problem with raising the membership or problem with raising the resident rate?
Why would you raise the resident rate and not raising the membership?
We can do that however you want to, but the resident rate at 49 in prime season is the same as it was 2 years ago. We went down on it last year, so it just went back to where it was 2 years ago. I mean, I'm happy to sit down with you and we could put together a rate sheet as how you would like to see it. Right, right. Well, I understand that, and I think that rate sheet is very good.
And I was spending all this money for this golf course, for both golf courses. You know, be a leader in goddamn county, charge the right amount of money for what you got. We don't do that. If we're gonna have the best breed in the county, my God, charge people. There's nothing wrong with that. People like to play on the golf course, if you give them a good product, they'll pay for it.
No, I understand that, but in 2 sentences, you told me not to raise rates and then you're telling me to raise rates.
I talked about the residents.
Correct.
The residents pay more than Tangle. I mean, the
Right.
residents, when you live on this side of the
Right.
complex, pay more than the residents on the other side.
I want to say we went up 3 or 4% on resident rates, and I think we went up 7 to 10 to 12% on most of the public rates. So
I'm just throwing it out.
Let me lay it out for the past 5 years, so you have comparable by year.
But what's the amount we charge? Last thing is, I made a mistake. The recreation rates for residents, are we raising?
We're keeping status quo.
I think that we have more this money. You're talking about $3 million on
Yes, sir.
What's $120,000 in residents?
I'm not relying on any fees that we charge for amenities and all this stuff. Problem we have mechanism, right? Form the 66 people that show up at the pool, sit there all day long, and no one else can come. That's the challenge. If I open it up to 12,000 residents, and I can only hold 66, if my cap is 66, and then we have this ticker that shows no, can't come in, can't come in, can't come in, that's our challenge. We gotta figure that out. That's what we're doing.
I don't think you do it here, but you got to October. Sure. Why would we exclude it?
That's your opinion.
Wait, if the pool is a problem, try for the pool this year and take away all the others. And then do the pool next year.
The pool is the issue. The pool is the linchpin in this. It's not really important.
Make it 3 tennis and 3.
Let us present to you how we can offer that to everyone once they come to the board. And then let's capital on those locations. I'm with you. It's very fan of that for what they pay. But our group is limited on the resource of the entity, the pool, the court, the pickleball. If you truly are going to open it up to 12,000 people that live here, they just don't.
So theoretically, it's open to that. And, you know, you think you're going to get more response? Nobody's even going to know you do this. Come on.
I hear you.
I don't.
Have we had the stuff, not closed, have we had the stuff put a stop on it?
Well, there's been some time periods, so sure, where we just stopped. We didn't really have the mechanism that put that word out to our community. They truly will come, get there, we told them to go away, and then we have an irritated person.
Yes, we do.
That sits here with my staff.
Yeah.
We're trying to figure out how we can post it online, send text out, we're at max capacity, so people understand that before they get in their car and come. That's what we're working through.
Okay. Add-on items?
Any public comment on the budget before we move on?
Okay, public comment on the budget.
Bill Norcross, resident. Maybe trying to understand, I don't have my hearing aids in today, and maybe it did get past me a little bit, but you said, Ray, you said there was no membership increase? It was supposed to be 13% over 3 years, 5, 3, 5, 5, and 3.
You want us to charge you more?
No, we are paying an increase in our rate
There is no increase in golf memberships.
for this year.
For the next budget year.
For the next budget year.
Okay, now, is that because we've had a couple of bum years and we paid,
Maybe.
it's kind of a makeup?
There is no increase, but that's part of one of the conditions. We just said something to the order. We didn't want to raise our fees this year. They have come up with a budget that doesn't raise the fees this year. So no, for fiscal year 24, 25.
Okay.
So there is no increase coming.
Well, yeah, right, and you don't want to lose members. And if you plan for an increase, and then people say, well, look, we had a lousy year last year, and 2 years ago, and that was terrible too. We lost a lot of time playing the golf course, because we're supposed to have 2 golf courses for the money. Okay, so next year, you're not going to have a rate increase, which is very good.
Only for certain people.
Certain people.
Aggravator.
Okay.
This was a beginning.
Well, I have to agree with you because I was president of a course, a municipal course. And I tell you one thing right now, if I went back up there to play golf on a municipal golf course, it's going to cost me $68, not $38 down here. So people that come down here are getting a good bargain, believe me.
Any more public comment? Petitions and communications?
I gave you the couple products that we sent. I noticed this to the county about the
School?
school.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the petitions. We are still working the 2 petitions for speed bumps, waiting on the feedback. We want to go internal. If they meet the criteria, I put speed bump out there. If it's not meeting the criteria, I'll bring it to you all for your feedback. If you want to go with it or not. These are in areas of ABC streets and Preserve areas. That's all I have.
Okay. Staff reports. Staff reports? Mike?
Thank you. Sorry, I had to get reorganized there. All right, so we are going over, this is the staff report for April. Obviously, very similar to last meeting as far as our rounds, obviously. We're in the same situation that we were when we were talking about March. But we did average 247 rounds per day in April, which is down about 8 rounds a day from the prior year at 255. We did see a 14% increase in member rounds for year over year in April, which is about 600 rounds. So that's something to note. Outing rounds were flat year over year. Public rounds did go down 27%, which is about 800 rounds. So member rounds were up 600, public rounds are down 800, which puts our total rounds at only a 3% decrease year over year. So you can see as member rounds go up, obviously that's less rounds to sell to the public. So public rounds do go down on top of, some of our other challenges that we've had. So that, all in all, that gave us a 23% discount in public green fee revenue, which is about 30,000 or so. decrease year over year. Driving range revenue did see a 12% increase over year. Pro shop revenue saw a 4% increase year over year. Not to be too crazy here, but the membership revenue went up 103%, but you kind of throw it out the window. We sold a couple summer memberships or one regular membership. I think that one was, that time of year, it's just kind of hit or miss. So it was really only about $2,000 different. So Pro Shop COGS did go down year over year, but that's just based on total volume. Golf op labor, we did find a savings in labor. Obviously, if we're a little less busy, we need a little less folks in there to work. Golf ops expenses were a little high. I trying to remember what that was, but it was like scorecards or not scorecards, but we did purchase something. Maybe it was range balls. Maintenance labor is a little high year over year. Again, that's basically just due to the minimum wage and merit increases. It's as far as man hours, it's about the same. And we did find a little bit of expense savings in maintenance as we did the month before. A couple small tournaments we had in the last 30 days. We had the FFAA tournament. It was 82 rounds, which brought in $5,300 in total revenue. The Robert Saffold tournament was even smaller than that. It was 40 rounds, but still brought in $2,600 in revenue. Just to reference that, so you could see how that goes. We're averaging about right now today, not necessarily this month, but right now we're averaging about $1,200 in public revenue a day. So with these tournaments, obviously that's a bit of an increase for us. We did have the MGA couples tournament as well. Upcoming this Saturday, the 1st, we got the Sebring Rotary tournament. On the 14th, we have our little par 3 tournament that we did that last year. So this will be the second year we did that. It's kind of a little fun to go out there and do that. You get to play the course in a little different light, different approach angles and things like that.
What is that part? Just tell me the format. You play every part 3 here?
So basically we take all 18 holes and we turn them all into par 3s. So we'll just put a tee box. I mean, it could be anywhere. So we'll go out there and we'll find some cool spots. You might hit into the green backwards. I think last year on number 1 turtle, hitting into number 1, you hit from the number 2 tee box hitting backwards. So it's just fun. You get to play the golf course. It's a little different format. The actual format, I'm not sure exactly. I think we did like a 2 best ball or something, but we just try to do something fun, get out there. It's different. It's hot out there. So you go out there and play 18 holes in 2 hours and just have fun. So. And it generates a little bit of revenue. We give away some prizes and stuff. As we spoke about, so June 26th is the schedule for that, the dry jack verification. So we'll be closed for a day for that. We did send out some notice to the membership that obviously we're going to not have any golf available here that day. So we did set up some reciprocal rates at some other courses for those who may want to play that day. There should have been some notice going out. If it hasn't, then I'll double check. It's supposed to go out here.
I got mine.
Did you get it? Okay, I thought it went out. Yeah, should have been a member email. As far as setting up reciprocals for memberships to go, we got some around here. We got a course over in a couple courses in Sarasota.
I just got mine yesterday.
Check your email. There'll be more. We're going to keep sending it. It's not going to be just a one and done deal.
June 26th.
June 26th.
That's a Wednesday.
Yep. Double check. I mean, it's going to keep, we'll make sure it keeps going out, but if you didn't get it, let me know. We'll make sure you get it. Obviously, I think we're pretty well up to date on the golf course maintenance side of things. I know Mr. Boz has got a renovation update for you, but went out there this morning. They are putting in drainage in 14, probably get to 15 today as far as drainage goes. Keep moving the rock. We're kind of on pace to have most of the all the sand and all the greens probably by the end of next week. Boz will have further updates for you as far as that goes. Did get notice this morning that we will be planting, or we'll be putting the sprigs out on the front 9 Thursday. So that's going to happen on Thursday.
And I hope we get some rain.
So sprigs, okay, so I out your back door, did you notice when we verticut all the fairways, how it's got all that? Did you know all the clippings that come out of that? So those are sprigs. So basically that's what they'll do. They'll go in and verticut and they'll collect those. So you could collect those on our fairways if we had something to collect them with, and then you could go grass somewhere else. They'll sprinkle it. Yep. So they'll bring it in bushels. They'll spread it all out, and then basically they'll slice it in like somebody that's, if you see harrows when they go out and plow up fields, the big discs. So they'll disc them in 2 different directions to cut them into the ground. That way, if it rains real hard, they don't wash away, at least not as bad. Fertilizer and all the other stuff they put on them, they'll keep top dressing them, more sand, and it'll grow.
Oh, that reminds me, Boz, can you send a memo out to the residents when we do the fungicide to please no dogs and no children on the fairways or greens? Because I have a neighbor that takes her dog out and throws the ball.
We sent one out on
I know
our
you did.
And then they did copy and send it. I saw it.
I need to that to go out 2 or 3 times because that is, please, flooded.
And
to
there
all
is,
the residents.
Were they delivering sprigs today?
No,
I
they're,
thought I saw a truck with a bunch of plastic bags driving down 6.
so they fumigated over the weekend.
Yeah.
So all that was probably the plastic.
To go over the
They removed the plastic bisqueen off this morning. So obviously you saw the weather. So Georgia got a lot of rain. So they were not going to start harvesting the sprigs, I don't think, till tomorrow, because they couldn't today because they got 1.5 inches of rain yesterday or something like that. So they'll harvest them tomorrow and then they'll plant Thursday. Okay, restaurant side. So food sales was down 10% year over year. I put most of that subject. I know we had a few events that moved around. Number one, Easter is typically I shouldn't say typically, but Easter the prior year was in April, and Easter this year was in March. So that helped March numbers out, hurt April's. So that difference is about $12,000 year over year. And this year for Easter, I think we did about $15,000. So that was a big player as far as year over year sales. Beverage sales are flat year over year. Miscellaneous revenue was up. That kind of bounces around depending on what kind of events and things we do. We did see a total decrease in about 7% revenue, which is about $11,000. So a big chunk of that's all with Easter being early this year. Our COGS are down slightly year over year, but it should be as expected with the revenue being down just a little bit. Labor, we did see a $5,000 decrease in labor year over year. That's just, I think we're managing our labor a little bit better this year than last year. But also again, with Easter being a holiday, our labor, it's double time labor. So that helps save labor year over year as well. And expenses were down just a little bit year over year. Obviously in the report, you can see the average covers by day. As Brian noted earlier, Tom Barrymore is our national F&B representative with Troon. He's actually on his way down today, so he'll be on property tomorrow. If anybody wants to meet with him, I'm happy to line that up. Boz, I'm sure I'll set up a time to come for you to meet him tomorrow. Most of you guys have met him before, but it's that time of year where he kind of makes his way down here. Events coming up, obviously we got the Rotary Tournament Lunch. We are going to start some resident nights that are going to run kind of every other week throughout the summer. We're going to kick it off on the 3rd with Deer Run Estates. And then we got the Hampton Woods on the 17th. In the middle of that, we're going to have live music with Side Project Duo. And we do have a wedding on the 28th, which we got about 13 total events for June coming up. So obviously the calendar's a little more light than we see in season. So be on the lookout. We're going to try to put together some of our own events, some in-house events to try to generate some revenue. Yes, ma'am.
Father's Day, are you doing anything for Father's Day?
Yes, ma'am. That stuff will be coming out here shortly. We have Actually, I met with a team yesterday. We're about getting that advertising out, making sure it's on the radio. We kind of have separate, we'll have some golf stuff, and then we also have some restaurant stuff coming out.
Your Mother's Day luncheon was fabulous.
Yes,
It
and
was
that went very
unbelievable.
well. Yep,
I don't think I've ever seen us put it on a finer event.
thank you.
It was top notch. And breakfast, what are we doing about breakfast?
So, yeah, so we've talked about that. Obviously, you guys saw the survey. So I did sit down with Boz and we went through it. And we were trying to generate an idea. So, you know, what I told Boz, I think a good time to try to get that going would be a little bit either late summer or kind of early fall, September, October. Trying to put a game plan together because it doesn't appear like we're going to want to do breakfast 7 days a week. It was kind of like a sometimes thing. So maybe we'll, like you said, the Mother's Day brunch went over well. I think we could probably do pretty good doing some brunches.
I think Sunday brunch after church would be.
I think that's probably our
That used to
best
be
opportunity.
a wait in line.
Yep.
And with our chef and our.
Yep.
I think that's a no-brainer.
I think that's our best opportunity. So we're going to lean on that. We're putting together a plan for that. We'll make sure you guys see it before we get going. Any other questions for me?
I may have missed it. Did you do anything about food specials during the weekend? I mean, we talked about that for last night.
Yeah, so we have that. Yeah, so we had that discussion. So we're still doing our normal daily specials. Like I went through them, like, you know, and I met with my team. I met with Chef and Sandra, and going through our actual daily specials and you know what's doing well and what's not doing well. Obviously.
My question, I think the point
Yeah.
was change.
Yeah. Let's do a Taco Tuesday. I mean, everybody loves Taco Tuesdays.
We are doing like a Fresh Catch Friday. So I get a little apprehensive about changing them because I know like on burger nights, we get 40 or 50 burgers every Wednesday. And Thursday night, we were at one time, but I'm still afraid if we change that to something else. $3.
I mean, I think the request was we'd like.
Right.
We have to say, you gotta do this.
No, I just want to.
That's the, here we are a month later. And all we asked was for new selection on that. And we're sitting here talking about it 30 days later, nothing's happened. And do you think that you're doing something? You're not looking in the future. You don't. There's nobody going there right now. Nobody. Once season ended, you can drive by there just about any night at 5 o'clock, and there is nothing going on. Excuse me.
We'd like for you to seriously consider changing the specials. And, you know, you can say, I'm not going to do it for 30 days, but here they are. I mean, I
Right.
said to
So
this point, yeah, there's not a lot of people coming in now,
Right.
so maybe you don't do it till September 1, but we should have a plan to do something.
I was, well,
Maybe now is the time.
well,
Something's got to beat these people in.
all right, so back to it. So yes, we evaluated it, and yes, so we did add some other things. So like I said, we added, we changed our Friday special, goes from prime rib, it's going to be a Fresh Catch Friday. So we have made some changes. There will be more coming. I just want to be careful that we don't chase off the people that we do have to try to find other people. Because if somebody
Then
really,
double them up. Then double them up.
and that was going to be my point that I was going to say. That was where I was going. Was the possibility of was coming up with two, which I don't think it'll be an issue. Not in the summertime. Maybe in the wintertime it would be a little bit more of a challenge. But
Right.
That was right where I was going. Was I'm probably going to bring out a couple extra specials, and we'll probably mix them up like we used to do in the past, and we did have some success. So, thank you.
Double them up. Because
Yes.
I cannot be the only resident at Sun and Lake who is allergic to fish. I mean, there's got to be more. What your percentage is probably 15% that's allergic to fish. So Fresh Friday doesn't cut it. Variety. And, you know, and my husband would be there for prime rib. But
And we still do our normal daily specials too. We mix
Oh,
up
yeah.
our daily specials. I got you.
You have 2 specials every day.
Yeah, give me a variety.
Last month, golf was projected at the end of the year to, let's see if I get this right now, to have a $29,126.07 less than planned. I think, am I saying that right? No, less than planned. And now it's up to $57,690 for the next month. So your projection, I mean, your numbers are just something. I'm looking at this sheet this year, last month, this sheet this month, there's a difference of almost $30,000 a dollar. But for some reason, the restaurants improved by almost $20,000. What I see is you all the numbers on the restaurant, as far as your projection, about better. You haven't really touched the numbers on dollars, and that's getting worse. So I guess your numbers, I don't know how I can, well, the numbers are not. And I don't know how you can project budget for next year when there's such variances just every month.
Well, golf is definitely struggling more than the restaurant is currently as far as numbers to budget. I'll have to.
And I know somebody criticized me for saying that I said we're going to lose $700,000 over 5 months, which on this sheet is true.
Right. That's correct. Because because the revenue's front loaded in the memberships into October, November.
Forecasting in May, about 125, June 210, July 146, August 97, September 139.
That's due to all the revenue coming in the first 6 months, and then all of our expenses that we do, like all our golf course stuff that we do, all comes out in the summertime. Correct.
This is your actual revenue.
It's front loaded, and then all of our maintenance expense, the majority of the maintenance expenses are all in the summertime, so they don't coordinate with each other, so that's why it looks like that way. Mhm. And I gave you my projection last month of positive 185 for the club, and that's where it sits about today. But now that 185 wouldn't be in the budget numbers. That's this year, not next year.
Well, I already interrupted Joan about the budget. But performance, I mean, golf continues like this.
It's hard right now with one course. Member rounds are up a bunch. I mean, we're sold out till 11 o'clock every day. Right. Well, it won't next year, obviously. Next year we'll have 2 courses. We'll have excellent conditions. But I did.
Saying, don't have a realistic forecast. You have, raise for this year, you can have a realistic forecast. If you miss this year, the next 4 months by $100,000, you're screwed for next year. Unless you figure it out, unless you plan it correctly. I don't think you guys are planning it correctly. Okay.
Any more on golf or clubhouse? General counsel?
Yes, thank you. I'll keep it brief here for you. In regards to our Phase 5 foreclosure project, you guys may recall Auckland Pastures, the bondholder on the Phase 5 bonds, is requiring that as part of our collection efforts that our office go and foreclose on hundreds of lots. We are beginning that process. We have demand letters going out this week. with closure, a deed in lieu of foreclosure, where if the property owner signs that deed over to Auckland, it relieves us of our obligation to go and foreclose on that property in many instances. If there's another lien on the property, we still have to move forward with foreclosure. But generally on these vacant lots out there, there is not an additional lien. So that'll save the district a good bit of time and effort. Projecting here, starting next month, our office is going to begin to file foreclosure complaints for this project, about 20 a month for the first few months, and then after that, about 50 foreclosure complaints a month. And in total right now, without receiving any of these deeds back, we're going to, right now on the list, it's 258 foreclosure complaints that are going to have to go out, individual lawsuits. So it's a big project. It's going to take about a year and a half, 2 years to wrap it up, but we're moving on that right now. You all previously authorized Boz and his team to go after land acquisition for several projects, including our wastewater plant. I'm going to turn over to Coral here this week, purchase and swap agreements for those transactions. So those will get moving as well. And then I believe you all, final thing here, I believe you all have a copy of the letter that I sent to the property appraiser last week, Mr. McIntyre, regarding the status of the vacant parcels the district owns. Following our meeting last month, I spoke with all of you before or after the meeting that I was going to reach out to him. I received a call from him that day to meet with him in his office. We had a good conversation for about an hour, hour and a half. And the outcome of that was he wanted legal support for our position that our vacant parcels should be exempt from ad valorem taxes. And that is what this letter is. This just went out last week. It was a long weekend, so I anticipate hearing back from him this week on his decision. But we have the law in support of our position, and this should save the district about $150,000, $200,000 a year in not having to pay taxes.
Okay.
So I can answer any questions on that if you'd like me to discuss more. I can tell you if I do not receive a response that I think is justified from a legal perspective, we have additional remedies where we can go talk to folks at the county, try to work something out here. But yeah, I anticipate that we should get a good answer here. Thank you. Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, report.
Yes, please.
These are the highlights on the scan by. We're fully aware of dealing with the outside agencies dealing with the fire. Not up area. That was a spark from an ATV, is what the fire marshal came to the conclusion. Back by the school, there's some areas where individuals, I won't say kids, individuals go to ride their ATVs, and they're thinking that the sparks from that type of operation is what started it.
Oh, wow.
Also in conjunction, that's a area closer to Tanglewood where we have a lot of homeless setting up camps as well. He did not go down the road of hitting the roads on the homeless camp. It was more the ATV spark. So that's that one. It's still being monitored. They drive by every once in a while, and I think that one's pretty much good with the amount of cuts they did in the back area there. The Granada Boulevard out by the wastewater plant pretty much burned through everything from close to Cortez all the way back through our wastewater plant area. So it's us. Took care of a lot of the undergrowth. No houses damaged. Everything was blowing to the southwest or southwest. So no houses were in direct line of debris or damage. They are monitoring that, and they're conducting almost every other day a controlled burn towards the back. I mentioned it there.
Yeah.
Along the street. So they're coming in off Schumacher and hitting up some continuous burns to try to get that blocked. Occasional rain and so on, and our security team is added to their list of patrols. So if they see a spark up, we call the fire services back very quick, and they're out on site relatively quick, and they will put the right resources there, either the fire or the forestry folks come out. So both under observation. There have been some north of us fires in the Avon Park area, in that preserve area we monitor and we report those as well. It's just a lot of underbrush, a lot of dry, and it'll continue. We have the ban, our security and our code enforcement has added that, keeping that under observation, so if they see it, they will stop and engage citizens. If they see some type of burning, more so out past Cortez, people trying to get rid of scrub or logs or stuff like that. Not a lot in the suburban areas in the district. We're still getting that. We had to, and you'll see it out there now. I know we have the bridge as a capital project for next year. We've had there's a serious emergency going on out there. The main post, as well as a lot of the decking, is a safety hazard, and I was going to have to shut it down fully for operations. I did not want to shut it down for the summer months for 6 months, so I've authorized emergency repair. The crews are out there now. It's not our crews. It's the contractor we use to do the bulkheads on the golf course, a very reputable company. They did a good job there. So we are doing an immediate replacement there. So that project may come off the capital list because we're pretty much got to knock it out now by words. Otherwise, people are going to get injured, damaged, and then big lawsuit. So that's going on right now, and we'll address that. And the replacement is being done with a composite wood, not regular wood. So we will get 50 years of life out of the composite.
Good.
So that's happening now. The retention ponds on Balboa, if you've driven out to the preserve, just if you drive down Sun Lake, you hit the nature park, you take a left, there's a large retention pond out there. Based on what our engineer Drew put together and working with DPL, we've completed the repairs there. It's going to be a great asset on high water time, a lot of rain. It now prevents or stops from any clogging of the swales that all run out to that area, the nature preserve. It's now getting the right flow going out there. So that project was just done last week, and it looks good on that project. That was actually internal to our budget, so there's not additional cost. Came out of the roads and the maintenance fund, part of operations. Florida Avenue was on our capital project. We budgeted $220. We worked out with KDL the actual cost for completion, and it's down to about less than $100K. So they're working on that now. So we'll have some extra capital money from our capital plan for Florida. This is again replacing some 50-old fracturing lines. These are not asbestos, right? They are asbestos. Okay. This is a continuation of asbestos line replacement. So we'll get that out in May. That's about a 2-week project. We'll be done with that. Street lights, the mapping is done for Magnolia. We went down from 23 recommended to 13. So the mapping is done. The cost for that is right at $50,000. So we're waiting on the preserve area and Deer Run area to get their feedback from Duke, and then we'll see if we can execute those within the budget. Right now, we can do the Magnolia that knocks out one neighborhood. It gets them all with lights at the cul-de-sacs, lights at the intersections, and one light midway down each street. That's the bare minimum required. It's all underground wiring, installation. We can pay it up front. We're done with it, and then all we do is pay for that addition. It's $150 a month per utilities. That'll be added to our streetlight project. Tied to that, I've had a discussion with sustainability partners, putting together the plan. We went with them instead of Duke Power. So I'd say in the next 60 days, I'll get a plan back from sustainability to bring you all. If we go the route of what we do with the water meters, that'll be on the table for discussion at a much cheaper cost because we won't go through it. We talked about the speed tables. Tanglewood, we are ending the lease. We're going to an MOU. An MOU basically to clarify the expectations on the boulevard with maintenance and landscaping, anything specific that they would require. So it gets us out of this 10-year lease that they're in control of that street with any vendors and whatnot. Since the dynamics have changed there, I don't need a residential community owning the decision on final for commercial property. A lot of hardware there.
What does that do to the brewery?
So basically, once we get the writing of the MOU, Garrett's putting that together with their legal team, we will be in the decision maker for any signage and whatnot. We will determine that. To that point, they did resolve the Turn 2 brewery sign prior to that discussion. So we're good with that. Turn 2 is going to put a sign up. But based on that meeting, throughout on the table, it's time for us to end this. And they were actually on board saying, let's end it. So it's good, and that gets us out of that agreement. So more following that, you'll have an MOU in front of you probably the next 60 days that we can move forward on that. We did some upgrades in the recreation shack in the court area, the conference room. So if you know, we have 3 garages in the district office that we use for storage. We don't really park cars in there. They're just storage for utility accessories. We took one of those garages closest to the stairwell. We made an actual meeting space, conference room, a more appropriate conference room. Because right now we were all having staff meetings, citizen meetings in our break area for the kitchen, not a proper venue that I thought. So we did that in-house. Our guys did the work. We installed that conference room. So now it's open for larger gatherings, citizen gatherings, board gatherings. And it's a lot more professional setting. So that was done within the budget of the utility, not utility, roads. We did purchase some more commercial grade water fountains. This is a reefer where you can put a bottle, fill it. You can put a regular drinking fountain, and then at the bottom is a fence, and it's not going to be tore up like what was tore up back here. It's more industrial grade. We bought one for here, so that installation will be done by the shelter, and then over by the dog park, as you come in, there'll be on one side, probably the large dog side is the most used, will be the 3 segments, bottle, drink, pet, and then on the small pet side will be a small pet container that is automatically fed. You don't need to fill it. Right now, people have to fill bowls and stuff. This will be auto-fed, auto-drains. It'll greatly improve the accessibility for our residents. So that was part of recreation funding, that operational funding. And Garrett mentioned the acquisition of these parcels. About 100 actions going on right now. The Scrub J area, the wastewater area, and some other parcels around the district that we're doing land acquisition to get back in our control for potential growth. So that's the big stuff. The rest of the general manager's report, no issues on personnel. I did send a notice out. Roger Jacobs, our operations manager, had some personal issues, family issues that just been out of state. So that position's back open. We're going to do some either internal hiring or we got it out in the market. We'll see who comes in for that capability. This is the person that's going to be a director in charge of security, permitting, code enforcement, and recreation. So we're looking for a person with a lot of skill sets. So that's on the market. And other than that, a few smaller level positions are open. We're hiring individuals that will actually we did hire one for Sandy. So we're in the process. Yeah. So we're replacing Sandy, our employee that we lost by death. So he's being position filled, and then we hired a full-timer in our recreation department. So we should be maxed out. We're still on the lookout for potential finance department, accounts payable, accounts receivable. That's on the radar screen, as well as an additional person in potentially HR and PIO, public information officer, to address a lot of these concerns between marketing, getting the message out, managing our social media sites. So that's that. Yes, ma'am.
In my drives around the community, I noticed that on our frontage road, there are 2 cars parked back in.
Not allowed. We got code enforcement involved in that.
But it's been there. I mean, they were there yesterday.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. I just don't want us to.
We're not going to pick up the car line.
Thank you.
Code's going to go out there and check. I saw it over the weekend as well.
I'm going, are you kidding?
Leaving the car to go inspect.
No, but they got, okay.
But we'll get them. We got them.
Okay, thank you.
Here's the Balboa. This was the prior. Before was to the left. As you see, a lot of clogs were caused there because it wasn't appropriately done. To the right is our completion. A lot of riprap added, as well as the ability to segregate the waste that comes down there, tree branches and so on. So this will be a great assistance come our high water time or heavy rains.
Aesthetically, too.
Okay, quickly on self-assessments. Again, we're continuing constantly to figure out ways to connect with our community, get appropriate feedback when it comes to restaurant, golf, and so on. We've added another tool in our toolkit here. This is an app that, not an app, this is a product that will have the 5 locations. To the bottom is your locations. It's called Happy Face Surveys. If you ever driven at the airport, went to Legoland, Disneyland, you see these little things that have a smiley face. Right there, smiley, medium smiley, kind of on chill, and then I'm really angry. That's what we'll have on these screens. These are accessible. We read the data, And then there'll be 2 follow-on, very simple questions that kind of frame what their concern is. So at the district office, it'll be, how was rate your service today? Hit a smiley face. And it takes them to the next screen, if they want to answer it or not. But at a minimum, we'll get a sense based on the hour of the day, employee on staff, and get a sense of the comfort level that our citizens have at all locations. Jamal will be the guy that will compile all this data on a frequent basis, and then we'll be able to respond appropriately if they need some data, or at least adjust our plans moving forward. These are self-standing devices. We'll have one in here for people that utilize this space. We'll have one on the pool, outside of the dog park. And we'll see how this can, again, add another venue for people to send information to the district, so we see where we stand, how good we're doing, how bad we're doing. We should see these popping up in the next couple of weeks in this location.
I'm curious, how much did they cost?
These were in total $6,000 to buy them for a standing alone device. And then there's a recurring contract for 3 years, $4,000. But it's all the data metrics that come with it. So we're not having to do anything other than hit a button, collect the data, and you guys where we stand. So I think for a 3-year, it's a 3-year contract. For a 3-year investment, it made total sense to give us another way to get information back from our citizens.
And once we get the information to act on it.
Yes, ma'am. So this will be a sample of what comes in information-wise. This is all through there. This is what we're paying the annual service subscription for. It's not only the machines we buy outright, this will be the data and analytics that we will have to be, that we can get at a phone, be able to address concerns as we see them coming up. I like it mainly because it really tags a point in time, rather than generic questions that I get. Hey, I had a bad day at the restaurant. I can help you. I don't know if you came at 11 o'clock or 5 o'clock or what. This will really pinpoint, well, at 5 o'clock, I came to pay my utility on someone was being ridiculous. Well, then I'll know who's working at 5 o'clock, and we'll be able to sort that out very quickly. All right, Sunlight Boulevard, you see it's going on today. This is getting the asbestos line. It's past where we did the work. This is just, again, fracturing lines, continuous age, and we're having to replace it. So this replacement will be all the way up to the circle, the first circle. So you'll see we're down along the southern side of Sunlight Boulevard. Will not impact traffic. It's going to go across the circle, but this time we're doing boring. We don't have the county restrictions because we're not crossing Sunlight. We're going this way. We own that. We're able to do boring across driveways, across the circle. So a lot of cost savings there. We're not having to replace asphalt and so on. And we will get this done, and then it basically removes another 1,600 linear feet of asbestos line in their district. So it's taking our 6 miles of asbestos pipe, and in just this action, granted we didn't do this right away, but having this action, as well as what we did previously, we've knocked out about a mile of that to get us to a more reasonable amount. And we have a plan to address this over time. KDL is the emergency contractor we called on this, since they did the previous work. We got all the county permits, are good to go on it. It was pretty easy to get these because they basically turned the road over to us and they said, do what you want. So we're good on that. And we have, in this case, compared to last time, we had the ability to do a temporary line to all those businesses. So off the back side of all those businesses, the kidney place, the dentist, we ran a back line that their water will not be interrupted. So they're all happy, they're very appreciative. And now when we've shut that line, it's dead, and anything that happens there, reverse or whatnot, will not impact any of our commercial business, as well as ours. So a lot better than we were in a position to address this before an actual burst through the water. This will come out of utility, current operations, will not be a drain on any reserves or anything. That's the area there, from the old work up through the circle. This will get us past the circle. We'll get into a new connection there, and then in future projects, we'll take it all the way to 27. Tortoise, we had our visit, good visit with the county, or not the county, the state. State folks came out there, we walked the ground, they checked out all the areas. The good thing about, good is good, bad. The good is our soil conditions are perfect for making it a preserve. The bad is that we have a lot of undergrowth there because it's just been left unkept. We didn't keep it up, no one else did. So there's going to be some work on our part. Good thing, we have an excavator with a brush head that can get in there and and at our leisure, knock down a lot of that brush, that low ground stuff. When we did the walkabout, a lot of old tortoise habitats were found but not occupied. And the reason was, from the experts with us, is that the growth is too much that they went somewhere else. So we know by that, it'll be an actual preserve that will be well used once we clean out the scrub oak that's on the bottom. So we'll start that internally. It won't be outsourced. We'll get our crews up there with our new piece of equipment. Once we're done on the golf course, we'll move that excavator up there. We'll start doing that out, and I'd say within a couple months over the summer, we'll clear out as much as we can. And then the next step is we call back the state folks, and they give us the thumbs up that you are now cleared out, and we'll have that authorized, and then we'll go through the permitting process to get that a functional preserve, and we can start taking up to about 300 tortoises in that area. So in the budget next year under general, I do have some money set aside to do this project. It's not a separate capital. We can pull it out as a capital project if you want, but it's internal because it's a professional contract with our operations guys as well as the state. And I'm thinking that by spring of next year, just waiting on the state's timeline, we're able to get this as an actual preserve for use. And we'll start accepting tortoises at about $5,000 at a minimum per tortoise. And that's a revenue generator for the district up to about past $1 million. That is pure profit for us as a district. For us to maintain that area once it's established, probably less than $50,000 a year, if that. Because all we got to do is get back in there with the knock out some of the low growth and hire a contractor to come check on the tortoises every couple of months. But that's a local guy that we hired.
I was going to say, he's local.
Yeah, so I definitely see this as a win-win for the district.
It is.
And it also gives all our developers from Hornick to Horton to everyone, Southern Prominence, very local place where they can just bring their problems to us. We'll take care of it and help them.
For a fee.
Digital signs are being built. It's a company in Orlando, so we should be getting those. The sites are right here. The yellow ones is what we went with. Yellow are dual-sided signs. I'm sorry, single-sided signs, so 27. It's 2 in the middle. In front of the district office, it's a single-sided sign. Right at the entrance to the View Run, where they have their sign, we're changing that with digital. We'll keep some of their wordings on there. That'll take care of that whole community. District office, the intent there is on our side of the street. That'll hit up the restaurant, the golf, district issues, so everyone in that roundabout will see that. Out at the end of Sun Lake, before you hit Cortez, will be an area that'll hit all the people that come in that way, go out towards the back 40 there. And then the 2 double-sided signs are down by Ortega. You see it on the south side there, the red one. That's coming in from the south side of Schumacher, hitting the ABC streets, hitting the other communities there, Unit 12 and so on. So that's a double-sided sign right at the 4-way stop, so you're forced to look at it. And then the other double-sided sign is way up north there, off of Ponce. When you come in the northern entrance, before you can turn on the Norca, we'll hit you with the double-sided sign there, so all the people that live up there come in that side will get that. We definitely identified about 3 to 4 new other locations. I want to get these established, get them set, get them working, and then maybe in the next 6 months, bring it back to you. Hey, we see a lot of value in this. We probably need about 4 more single-sided signs as we get these things planned out.
Are these movable?
I mean, we can dismount them from the poles. We could. They're not built to be movable, but we're going to put 2 poles.
I'm saying if we find one location that's not acceptable.
Sure. Yes. Yeah, we can pop them off and move them. Yeah. The biggest expense for us, we're going to do all the work, setting up the foundation, which is a concrete job, and doing the power. But our guys are doing all that. So once we get that done, all we're really doing is setting up some poles, putting a sign on. The sign will be active, be online, will be digital. And if we truly see an area that we're getting no feedback on, no one's saying, I don't see nothing on that sign, we could present you an idea.
Signage. Very good sign on.
Sure. So actually yesterday, if you were to drove out 27, you saw our welder was out there working on it on holiday. He was out there. He's doing the internal guts, fixing all that. Once that's reformed, then we call our paint crew, will get out there and paint it. The gray color. So I'm thinking probably next 10 days that should be done. We've
Ooh,
already
yeah.
been reimbursed by this insurance. We got our $25,000 check. So, and we're spending, I think, 11,000 is what the welder charges. That's all I have for specific issues, unless, no motion, give $25,000. These are 4 issues that were either in the budget or approved at the emergency expenditure for the repair job on FEMA. So nothing new there, nothing out of norm that I need to vote on. That's paragraph N or number N. And then number O is your golf green replacement. I just stuck to the regular format of what we presented to you, showing the red line is basically today. We're very close to today, this week. We are ahead of schedule. We are ahead of schedule on the dig outs, the well outs of the greens. We're ahead of schedule on the fumigation, as you can see. We weren't planning to fumigate, starting fumigation until this week. We're actually be done fumigation today. So we're ahead of
That's
schedule
great
there.
news.
As Mike said, we're putting in sprigs later this week, and that's that dark green area. So I'm very comfortable on the timeline. Our crew has worked out the kinks. It's pretty much a repeat job. Once they crack the code on the first couple, we're doing an outstanding job there. We did internal shifting of some resources. I sent a couple of my equipment operators, the roads department, assign them to golf. They're the guys doing the bobcat and the excavator, helping out. So we're saving money there. And so manpower wise, we're good. Cost to date, if we would have counted every penny, is about 127 grand, but 127,000. But the reality is, a lot of that is payroll that we're already paying them anyway. So they would have been on the clock doing another money. So the reality of external costs, I call it, the sprigs, the fumigation, and renting some equipment, is about $85,000. And we're already done about 14 more. So I think we're gonna, I'm not gonna support around here. I know we're gonna come in under budget. I don't know how much under budget. The biggest expenditure next is the next round of fumigation and the next round of sprigs. But everything else is either we paid for it or uploaded, front paid. So basically 70% of our budget's been expended, and we're about 3 weeks ahead of schedule. Very comfortable with it, getting good reports every day from the team out there. I do 2 turns every day, just checking on the job site, treating it like a true capital project, job site. So we're getting the feedback, we're doing adjustments. I had our engineer do our site visit, check the drainage, very comfortable on the drainage we're installing. I definitely foresee this being not only the quality of those greens, but the longevity of those greens once it's done. And I think it's going to force us to have a discussion when it comes to, is it a point in time in the future to spend the energy on a turtle to get it to that level, so we have both 36 holes at a 10-year out readdress plan instead of looking at it every year. But very comfortable, and I appreciate the effort that the team's working on out there. Jimmy's on site every day, obviously. Mike's out there every day, and the crew is just cracking the whip out there.
But
Sure.
I know the way it's set up on the drainage, I remember Jimmy made comments that you have the ability to force air down through there to help dry it up. Do we have the equipment on site that's necessary to do that?
Yes, you can use it very simply, just a backpack blower. So the receptacle's about that big around, you could literally just have a backpack blower and put air down through there to force air down through the drainage system to help gas exchange. And you could go.
Depends on what you want to do. If you're trying to really cool it down, no, we need like air compressor, right? If you want to heat it up, you need something bigger. If you're looking for blockage or something that way, we can put minor air down there, but it's not like Augusta where you bring out the big thing.
Right. It's not a replacement to sub-air, no, but
Is that heated?
sub-air, no.
Oh, I don't.
That's a huge endeavor.
But it's really
definitely an
cute.
extra. It's extra.
It's
And
there.
it's inexpensive. It gives us an extra way that we can control it. And, and if it's dry out, you can actually cap it off. So that way you can reduce the exchange, keep the moisture in the greens as well. So It's just one extra way to gain control of moisture levels in your drain.
Moisture and
Any other questions? You have your golf minutes, nothing extravagant coming out of golf. So if your questions, anyone have any report or anything?
I just have a few things. This month, someone picked up last month. You want to discuss evening meetings?
That's just been a very small but vocal group of our community. I'd say worst case scenario, probably about 30 people have regularly sent me notifications. Can we do it?
Based on that, that's what we have here.
I got you. You know, as a staff, we're going to support whatever you guys choose. It's your schedule. I think it would be of value, and it really depends on the timing, that maybe on a quarterly basis, we offer that as an option and try it. I know you guys tried it in the past.
We have.
The city I came from, every meeting was at 7 o'clock at night. Barely attended, to be honest with you. This is a big crowd for where I came from, Wisconsin. So we went down the road to offer that as the answer of, hey, you work, you come.
Well, one of our budget meetings is the 13th. Yeah.
I'm specifically doing a night one, but that's just staff, it's not bothering me. I think it's something that we need to discuss as a group and maybe try one. We're definitely not changing it all tonight.
I personally think that's a good try. You can't really just do one. That's what we did last time. We did one and everybody said, well, certain part you have to do.
Try the one a quarter.
I think we tried one definitely during the summer, the low time here. We picked one over summer, and then we wait till our folks from the north come back, we get one then. Then you have 2 meetings with the population base, and we see what the output.
I mean, I'd be in favor of trying it. I think we can get more people to participate. It's great.
Do you want me to highlight a standing board meeting and just recommend that's the one we go at night? Are those days good for you all? We went to a night at 7 o'clock, type meeting, or 6 o'clock type meeting, sorry. 6 would be
I
fine.
mean, I'm just speaking for me. I don't know how they feel.
Whatever.
I'm fine trying to get.
Yeah.
Okay, so the days we have, just recommend a 6 o'clock meeting in one of those days.
I reserve the right to check my schedule.
Sure. Well, we don't do it quick. Now, I'm talking the earliest meeting on July meeting. If that. We wouldn't do it in June, we get too much on the plate there. But I think July, give you guys.
July or August, yeah.
We'll shoot for a 6 o'clock meeting, same place, and then see our attendance. Take it from there. Yes, sir.
Just one more thing. One question. Did you guys decide about Columbus and Woods road request we had?
Woods and Iron?
Yeah, Woods and Iron.
We have, we got a contractor, Drew's been out there, we have a contractor, we're basically going to add a park. Change some of the curbing. So the major concern was we have a lot of people parking here, picking their kids up from the buses. They just park on the sides and block the road. So, from Columbus back in, probably close to where the golf cart path is, on the south side, we will asphalt that, make it a proper parking area. And then folks can line up there and not block the road. So you still have 2 lanes coming in. We're working that. It's going to be done internal. We have a local contractor to do the asphalting, and it's in our budget. We have the money to do that for money right there.
Did you get any answer on,
Right there, back when we were talking about adding that sidewalk all the way around, we talked about putting a stop sign there so kids could walk across Columbus into that area.
Okay.
And then remove the speed bump that's on the other side. In fact, we'd have stop sign on both sides, stopping traffic so that kids can cross. I don't know that, I haven't. Yeah.
So,
right.
So stop sign going on Columbus, Market Center. Yes. There's one on Woods and Iron, obviously.
Right, now this is for Columbus to stop.
Okay. We'll look at that. We'll look at it.
I mean, that was some early discussion when we first started talking about extending that sidewalk all the way around.
Okay. All right.
But that's prior to even buying that section. So.
Gotcha. All right.
And I don't know how many kids are walking down that street, but that was something that we were looking at.
Sure.
Give me the update on Duke Energy about the transformers.
They're actually, when we tied to the streetlight discussion I had for the district guy, they are doing their analysis of the ABC streets as their focus area. So they're having their crews come out and check on that and provide me a report. I don't know how the urgency of it, I just know they're working it. I can poke them again and say, hey, we would like something sooner rather than later. Their feedback, initial feedback, it's their call and stuff. They're thinking it's more aesthetics rather than actually damaging underground wires. That's their initial take. I think it's gonna be the amount of pressure we push on them, saying, hey, just fix them anyway, address them, get them fixed.
So they're saying,
Work out with time.
Keep having outages over.
Well, that's true, that's good for us, I can use that as my, my focus. We'll continue to push this district manager that I work with.
The last thing is, and I think that you sent this out, but I missed it. The pull-out restriction, we had a conversation that.
We actually got it, yes, so, this is one of the things you have to be careful what you ask for. So we are moving towards opening the pool at 9 a.m. and going into the evening based on this new hire. This new hire was specifically brought on that we can take us to 7 or 8 o'clock at night. That's what we're going to, and that's what we should be happening at right after the holiday week, Saturday, it's national vacation. The reality is that does not mean the ladies that were here last meeting truly wanted that 9 to 10 window to be private pool time for them. with
That's
the
right.
class. Sorry, we can't offer that as private pool time. It'll be open to all. We will have a staffer there, and that staffer will make it clear, please show some courtesy to the people enjoying the yoga class. But it is going to be open to all. That's why we're opening it. And it'll be open all the way into the evening. I'm not going to be happy, sorry, they've already been very vocal to me. That's life around here. So 9 to 8 is what we're going to on the pool. There will be staff, managed, one of my people there. And we'll continue that through the summer, taking advantage of it.
that's great.
And it'll be open to all. We'll work with the classes, make sure they're not eating each other. Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yep.
I just want to let, are we, have we got anywhere with planning a Veterans Day tournament?
Oh, I don't think you guys were.
So prior to that meeting, we actually already have one back on the calendar. It was already on there that, so we actually moved the other tournament back to Veterans Day. And I had forgotten about that. But as on our staff, we're going to have to be in more control of it. We're going to have to kind of hold their hand. We're going to have to make it work to be better. So I'll get with you, Boz, and I'll tell you what we got going on.
We'll take it on. The organization is just very, we gotta help. We're fine to help.
It's good. Are we going to have,
So we're going to have it.
One bet.
Just on a side note for that Friday, you know, this Part 3 tournament that you got coming up? I went to sign up for Group 4, and I asked them how to pay, and I was told they don't know how. Because the MGA thing, the way this is kind of a side note, the MGA thing, the way we work it is, you guys charge our accounts for an event. I asked if that's the way it works for the Part 3 thing, they said, we don't know. Some people pay, some people don't know what to do. So that, again, we need a little clarification and some direction to give it to the people there, so they know how to handle it.
yeah.
Got one more alibi on our interlocal, unless you have another question about the GM report. So the interlocal was that school agreement that we reworded. We had the new overhead pictures in that packet. We just need a motion to approve that so we can move forward with the school board and get that done. This is basically, we're fencing in the lift station that's on Sun Lake.
Right.
We're fencing it in so we can get access from the outside and not bother the school and all of the security issues. Because right now we have to ask their permission, they have to vet our vendors, and it takes it to that. So we're just needing to get the interlocal done this week.
Okay, is there any public discussion?
Well, we were gonna fence it in anyway, it's about $5,000.
Board discussion?
Approve the interlocal agreement for Islands County School Board and Sun Lake.
Board discussion? Call the vote.
Supervisor Herrick,
Yes.
Supervisor McLaughlin,
Yes.
Supervisor Norton,
Yes.
Supervisor Brooks, President Phillips,
Yes.
We've got to make sure we get some signatures coming for that.
I was gonna say, I need some signatures. Okay.
That's all we have to say, or that's finance.
One question I have. This organizational chart you sent out, who are all these guest service attendants?
Under golf.
On top. Who are these?
Yes, sir. Those are the cart guys.
Those are what?
The cart guys that wash carts at the day.
No. That's beverage card attendants. There's guest service.
No.
Not,
Probably
No.
15.
not beverage cart attendants. Cart barn attendants. The guys that put the carts away, bring them out in the morning, put them away.
All these guys?
There's a lot of part-timers there. a lot
Yeah,
of
they're all-
a couple hours a day, yes. We're looking, it's the first time I presented that. Trust me, we're putting a critical eye on our staff and process. We're gonna be looking at that.
Just one thing, apology, well done yesterday. The whole team.
Oh, absolutely.
Good setup.
Very nice.
We'll keep refining it and tweak it as the year goes on.
I hope you do something like that for Veterans Day.
Sure. One hour, quick, recognize for the issue you got here.
Because we built out the finance team and directed, Okay, as we build back the finance team as directed, in anticipation of removing Infomark, I'd like to introduce the accounting manager, Michael Lee. He's come on board, and Tamia. Tamia is doing estoppels. We found the need that from the customer service desk was estoppels were being handled. It was such a volume that it warranted a particular position for that, and that's Tamia, and they're part of the finance team.
Welcome.
That's all we have to say.
One last question. Is there any merit to having less service, even more hours, make them feel more organization, and therefore give us better service? We have a lot of part-time, and I don't know if it's possible. We seem to have a lot of part-timers. I'm sure they can't be making a lot of money because they don't work a lot of hours. So I'm just throwing that on the table. Sometimes if you give them more hours, it may, the job may be more important to them. What?
Okay. How are we doing now? Yeah. Discussion to and from the board.
We as a board need to recognize that BOS is coming up on about a yearly evaluation. And I think it's time for us to start thinking about, merits of what he's done and for us to be prepared to discuss what, if any, type of monetary increase he should get after this year, if any. And, but also just tell him where he's at as far as we're concerned, as to his job.
Okay.
So I think we ought to be putting that on our agenda to discuss another month or two.
Should we put it on next month's agenda?
Well, what, yeah, good point, I appreciate it. agenda, you will be provided by our HR the evaluation format that we use for all staff.
Okay.
And you guys take that back for 30 days, because the requirement for contract is for July. You guys need to provide me my 1-year assessment.
Is this the same form that we used to use, or did you change it?
This will be something that's generated more specifically to give the feedback, I think, that's appropriate for the position of district general manager. So it will not be the same form. It will take you guys a little bit longer to fill out, so I apologize in advance, but I've created what I would, it is worth the time. I think that it will, I think it's going to be a really good tool for you guys to be able to do your assessment, and then something that's great for Boz as well. So I have kind of a first draft of that. One of the things I'm going to touch base with Garrett on, just want to have him set eyes on it, just making sure that it's a good product to get to you, but you can't expect that to come from me.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okie dokie. You just jump all over it.
Everything that we brought up today, or that I brought up today, challenges of budget and stuff. How are you going to handle that? Are you going to have, the answers will be blank.
So we'll take back what there's a clerical error or whatnot, we'll clean up that language. Next, you'll have citizen commentary on the same product you saw here. The only critical thing is that the June 18th meeting right now is, we have 30 days to push it. Is setting the assessment. So at that meeting, we need this lock in. Are we going to raise the conference? Now, if you're comfortable to say table that for 30 more days, we're good for 30 more days, but then we have to do it in July. That's my statement. So other than June's meeting, that was a budget meeting, speaking to assessments. We have 4 topics that night for that day. The next board meeting was going to be another throw up current numbers again if needed, on any corrections that we need to do. And then there's a July budget meeting, seminar, workshop, I'll call it, that we've had planned as more feedback, you guys.
Changes in the already changes, we'll see on the.
Well, you'll see it for June 18th meeting.
I assume that we have a June 18th.
We'll have the most latest and greatest based on any changes we talked about.
Motion for adjournment.
Motion for adjournment? Oh, yeah, right. Are we adjourned? Oh, my goodness. Oops, don't do that, darling.